And I got to take these chairs home, so don't let me forget.
Welcome, everyone, to Our Town Podcast. Please take a moment to like and subscribe, share if you can, and review if available. We'd love to hear from you, so comment below and tell us how we're doing. Don't forget to visit ourtownpodcast.com for all the links and join the members-only section of the website or sign up on Patreon.
Yes.
Now here are the boys of Our Town Podcast.
Yay! Well, welcome everybody to another exciting edition of Our Town Podcast.
Oh, extraordinary.
Extraordinary, yeah.
Coming to you from the rainy and cloudy, but beautiful and historic Renton, downtown Renton at the I Am Renton space.
Yes, thank you, Jeffrey.
Episode 96, boys.
Crazy.
And tonight we're doing B-movies, all about B-movies.
Oh, good.
B-movies.
Aunt B? What?
No, just B. But we could throw her in if you need to. Tonight's safe word, boys, is popcorn.
Oh,
so if
perfect.
anybody's not feeling safe and you want to stop this here program so we can check on you, just yell out popcorn.
Which seems like a verb.
It kind of does.
It's funny is whenever I'm doing the VR improv thing, there's one person who's usually like chewing on popcorn. And one time I was like, who the hell's eating styrofoam peanuts?
God. Well, originally, boys, we know today popcorn is kind of synonymous with movie snacks, right?
Yeah.
But originally, movie theaters were sort of highbrow entertainment. So you went to the Nickelodeons, and they were very nicely carpeted. The seats were really good. So the theater owners were sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? Not ready to have you bring in snacks, right?
Yeah.
They didn't want to mess up their theater, but then a little thing called the Great Depression happens, and theaters become a form of cheap entertainment for folks because they out of work and they don't have a lot of money, so it became a really good way for cheap entertainment. And vendors outside the theaters would sell popcorn because it was nice and cheap, so you could buy, a nickel, get a big bag of popcorn, get into the movie theater and enjoy your snack and do it. Pretty soon theaters picked up on it and were like, well, we need to have our own popcorn. So they either brought the popcorn vendors in and leased space inside the lobby to allow them to have it. Maybe one of the reasons that the Civic Theater down the street doesn't have a big lobby, big concessions area, because it's built in the 40s. So from there, it just became this easy way for theaters to make a little additional cash, because you could buy this huge bag of popcorn for $10 and it would last years, right? Just pour a little bit in, years and years.
You're talking about unpopped
popcorn.
Okay.
Kernels, as long as they stay dry, they're good to go. I don't know. I think it's easy to clean up after.
It kind of is,
right? Like soda and sticky chocolates and such. It's like,
better than some of the other
and
stuff.
now they just have like battery leaf blowers.
I mean, now, I don't know about back then, but I know now that theaters, they make all of their money off of concessions. They don't make any money off of tickets.
Because it costs so much to get the movie
to rent the movie. They basically rent it from the studio.
Yeah, probably 90+% of your ticket goes for them just being able to afford to run the movie.
100% of the ticket goes to the studio.
Yeah.
They make their money off of concessions. That's why concessions are like on a leg.
That's why you're like, holy crap, I just paid $30 for a couple of Cokes and a bucket of popcorn.
Right? And that
with a strange yellow liquid.
I mean, okay.
It's like, I'm good,
12
dude.
Big Macs.
I don't know about other theaters, but I worked at the Lincoln Square Cinema in Bellevue for about a year, and the popcorn butter they had was not butter. It was a soy based with butter flavoring.
I can't believe it's not a butter.
Yeah.
Oh,
and,
yeah, no,
and,
it's-
and working there completely ruined me on popcorn.
Oh, you can't do it anymore.
I'm not interested in eating because
It's an occasional thing for
because
me.
you know how long it's been sitting there.
Oh, yeah, well, I make popcorn at home. It's one of our household fresh.
When it's fresh, it's different. But if you go into the theater, I don't ever buy the popcorn because I know
Unless you
it's
watch it happen, and you just eyeball that shit from across the room and then hustle it.
So by 1945, guys, popcorn and the movies were inextricably bound together, so much so that over half the popcorn consumed in America was eaten at movie theaters.
Oh, geez, that's great.
Which makes sense, right?
That does make sense.
Yeah.
I knew a guy who was obsessed with getting the right butter flavoring for his home popcorn.
Oh, to match the theater.
Match the stuff at the theaters because he actually offered to buy the stuff from the theater, but they would never sell it to him.
They wouldn't even tell them what it is.
Yeah, and they didn't know because it was
Comes in an industrial tub that just says butter.
It comes from the company, the
biohazard sign.
Yeah, but
There's a herd of cows in Peru that just them. They're the only ones that make the movie theater.
With the squeezing.
squeeze the udder and it just comes out.
Word. Because it's not. I mean, it is. It's some partially hydrogenated, vegetable oil. It's something. It's like a.
What's even funnier is he found the
Butter's
brand
nice.
that had the closest taste of movie popcorn, and then within 6 weeks of him finding it, it went obsolete, and they didn't sell it
Oh,
anymore.
Jesus, he didn't stock up.
Yeah.
Didn't know.
No.
Yeah, Jesus.
I kind of laugh about it now because we're not really friends anymore. But it was at the time I was like, man, that sucks. That just, I mean, you spent all this money trying out the different butter flavoring for popcorn, and with that you
finally got it.
You finally got it, and it was what was it? Orville Redenbacher? Yeah, it was a brand of that, but then they stopped making it. It was
man.
these little things, a little shaker, salt shaker thing.
That's awesome and horrible at the same time. Boys, we are talking about B movies this week. Our favorites, kind of how B movies came into existence. Everything B movie we're talking about tonight.
Corman is like the originator of the B movie.
For the Americans,
No, I
anyway.
mean, not really. But I did want to start with a quick quote. This is from Roger Ebert. I don't know if you guys liked Siskel and Ebert
I
growing
did.
up.
It was all right.
Roger Ebert said, "No good film is too long, and no bad movie is short enough," which is pretty damn true.
Yeah, that's 100% true. There's been a number of movies like, wow, this movie wasn't long enough because I really enjoyed it, and then you realize you just spent 3.5 hours in the theater.
Yeah, exactly. So, what is a B movie? Straight from Wikipedia, boys. A B movie is a type of cheap, poorly made commercial motion picture. So, originally during the golden age of Hollywood, this term specifically referred to films meant to be shown as the lesser-known second half of a double feature, somewhat similar to the B-side of a recorded album.
Okay, makes sense. Yeah.
So what a lot of theaters did back in the day is they spent millions of dollars. Picture like they're doing Cleopatra, they're doing Ben-Hur, right? And they build these $1 million sets. It cost a ton of money. The theaters or the production company, the studios, like, how are we going to get our money back for this? So they might bring in one or two smaller productions to come in and use that set.
And rent that set out.
And basically help pay for it. And some of those sets lasted for years and years.
Yeah. I mean, the set for MASH is still in Southern California.
Yes.
Most of it, anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of it has gone the way of nature has overgrown it and whatnot, but it's still there. Some of the carcasses of the Jeeps and the trucks are still there.
So back in the golden age, B movies encompassed a wide spectrum of films. It ranged from like sensationalistic exploitation films to independent art house productions. The first B movies were a lot of westerns. So,
like the spaghetti westerns.
Well, later on for spaghetti, but like the Roy Rogers stuff. But I mean, they were cheap to make, right? Because you build the ghost town or the town, and you just write out these quickie. They were big time.
Like the D.V. Crockett for Disney, was that considered B rated?
Well, I don't know, because that was a TV show, so I don't know.
I thought those were
those movies? Maybe they were.
I thought they were. I don't know. Those were made before our time. I just remember watching them on the Sunday Sunday Disney thing on ABC or whatever it was.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of like quick, cheaply made films that like Audie Murphy starred in. That what's the tall dude?
hero
Not
Audie
the
Murphy.
Duke, but I'll think of his name. But a lot of those westerns back then, you could just throw a quick script together, probably film it in a couple of weeks, right?
Right.
And crank it out.
It's just part of the machine.
I mean,
just part of the machine.
And you got people to contract, right? So you just, sure.
I mean,
why wouldn't you?
What was it?
It's unethical.
I think it was the Warner Brothers Ranch still had, up until a few years ago, a western town, and they still were filming. That's actually, I think that's where they filmed Once Upon a Time in Los Angeles or Southern, whatever that Tarantino film was.
Oh, where they filled in for the Spawn Ranch that Manson was living in for a long time. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah.
Geez. And now it's CG, right? So they can have a much smaller place.
Yeah.
Right?
Either CG or
it's all green screen.
Or for
right?
Disney, they have that giant digital wall that they filmed.
Yeah.
Which is
That's very
really cool. Have you
common,
seen
yeah.
that?
I've seen pictures of it.
Dude, there's documentaries on Disney Plus for the making of The Mandalorian. They show that wall, and they walk past it, and it's massive. I mean, this room is
Yeah, it's kind
compared to
of
that.
going full circle to where, because even on the most, like say Cleopatra, the greatest of sets, it's still a set. Once you're on it, you know what I
Practical
mean?
stuff,
Then
yeah.
when you're working it, you know what I mean? So you just have to convince yourself and thereby convincing the audience that it's real.
Yes.
Right.
But with just a wall of green or whatever, I think that would be harder.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
'Cause
It's
you
like,
have cue
At least
points
on
instead of-
stage, you've got the tradition of the stage or whatever. But if it's like a green screen, I think green screen would be difficult.
I think for the actor especially,
Yeah, that's
because
what I mean. That's what I mean.
yeah, because you got like
Production
little
person.
points
Much
to
easier. Yeah.
okay, you're going to jive over to this
Yes.
point.
Yeah.
What is it going to be? Well,
or-
it's a tree or a car coming
Yeah,
at
you
you.
gotta
Or,
just- it's all in your mind's eye,
And
right?
you've seen the interviews where there's like, we're acting against a tennis ball on the end of a stick.
yes. Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the new insult for an in-person dialogue. Like, you're a tennis ball on a stick.
How dare you? But like Mike said, early films, a lot of westerns up into the 50s when the space age came along, and then you got a lot of the sci-fi
Buck
stuff.
Rogers. Well, actually, no. Buck Rogers was a thing back in the 40s, I think.
Yeah.
30s, 40s, oh yeah.
But like
sure.
Planet Nine from outer space.
That was also in the 40s, wasn't it?
Like you say,
really
because
Or the
films are
50s.
expensive. Even B films are still relatively expensive to make.
You gotta buy the film.
Oh, it's huge,
Yeah.
bro. You got catering. You know what I mean? It's like there's mass shit going on.
I'm pretty sure
Mass.
Planet 9 was in the 50s because Bela Lugosi was in his 80s and when he died, I think, and he died like shortly after making that movie because he had a small part in that movie.
Gotcha. Yeah, so again, just trying to maximize sets, maximize production, build more inexpensive films to get more money out of all the other work you got going on. So, do you guys ever see that movie with Brad Pitt that came out a couple of years ago where he was a film director in like the 20s or 30s? It didn't do really well in theaters.
I don't have any idea.
And it was actually it was fascinating to me, not because it was a good movie, but because it showed kind of the inner workings of early Hollywood and kind of stuff like that. Let me find it real quick.
Yeah, because there's just a bunch of money that got poured into it, right?
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah,
I'm
it was
sure
a-
there was a bunch of weird, toxic, shitty behaviors, right? But still, we got Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein out of the deal, and the
Yeah,
Was that
in
late
fact, I
20s?
think
You know, it's
Young
like difference in
Frankenstein
shit.
even used the same set as the original Frankenstein movie.
Geez, I don't know if that's true or
Oh,
not.
speaking of
plus,
which-
yeah, monster movies. And we forgot to mention.
Yeah, monster
they were
movies,
just
big
turning
time.
them out.
Yeah.
And how many movies did Abbott and Costello make? Like 900 fucking
Right.
movies.
But were those B movies though? Or I don't know if they're considered.
I mean,
know.
I think they would be
were
considered
getting
B
pumped
movies
out,
now,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
back then.
I mean-
but speaking of Young Frankenstein, I don't know if you guys saw this or not, but Terry Garr passed
Yeah.
away.
Yes. Yeah, I posted about that on our deal on Facebook.
Young Frankenstein.
Or yeah, because she was Mr. Mom with
Oh yeah, a bunch of Elvis movies.
Wasn't she
bunch of
also?
Elvis movies.
She's a
Yeah.
dance.
Wasn't she
Yeah.
also in
Oh, she's great.
Close Encounters as well?
Yeah, I think she's Dreyfuss's old lady.
Yeah.
Oh, and I don't know if she was
Yeah.
Close Encounter.
Yeah, I think she's Richard Dreyfuss's wife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Roll,
That's-
roll,
It
roll,
was
hey.
Babylon was the movie that Brad Pitt was in, and it's not a great movie, but it's also got Margot Robbie in it. She plays a actress or a wannabe actress when films were going from silent to talkies.
Okay.
So it's actually kind of a fascinating watch. So if you get a chance, and it's free, watch it.
Yeah. I don't feel bad watching terrible movies when it's part of like Netflix or something.
Yeah.
Because I'm not paying to see that specifically, but it's there.
Yeah. So B movies were sort of that all the way up until probably like the mid 60s. And then they kind of veered towards other things.
Like
So
they-
Todd mentioned like spaghetti westerns,
Yeah.
right?
Exploitation films as well.
Exploitation films was huge, and there's a ton of list of exploitation films that were like biker films, like
Cheap kung fu movies.
the kung fu movies.
and the Dolomite style stuff.
Yes, all the blaxploitation
yeah.
stuff.
Pam Grier and
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Dolomite, yeah.
Yeah, so exploitation films were always suggestive or explicit sex, sensational violence, drug use, nudity, gore, destruction, rebellion, mayhem, and the bizarre.
Nice. I don't know. Was that supposed to be? There's no negatives
is that a
in
bad
that
thing?
list. I know.
I think
It just meant boobs to me. Boobs.
I think
Yeah.
the first
It's like
B
skin of
film
egg.
that I ever saw, like, legitimately realized this is a terrible movie, but it's really awesome at the same time, was Death Race.
Oh, in 1975,
Yeah.
2000. Yeah,
Death Race
that's on the list,
2000.
and that is in a subgenre of car-sploitation. So there was a ton of car movies,
Yeah.
Death Race 2000, Dirty Mary, Crazy Larry, a bunch of movies like that. Quentin Tarantino pays homage to that with Death Proof with
I
Kurt
never
Russell.
saw it.
Yeah.
That was a great film. I really liked it.
Yeah, it was interesting, and I liked the gals that were in
Yeah,
that. Our favorite
Dawson, Rosario's in it.
Rosario, yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
And the Australian chick who was really a real stunt woman.
Real life stunt woman, yeah. Yeah. Can't think of her name now.
Cynthia Rothrock.
Yeah.
No,
Who's underrated?
but she did in recent years. She did a docuseries or documentary about the stunt man and the stunt woman, and it was and she directed, and they talked about behind the scenes and
Nice.
whatever else.
Nice. Yeah, and there was also actually earlier cautionary films that could be considered B movies as well.
Oh, you're Reefer Madness.
Reefer Madness.
Oh my God!
and-
Yeah. Yeah.
Has anybody watched Reefer Madness?
I tried watching the
I feel
musical
like
that came
I
out a
did
few
a
years
million
ago,
years
and I
ago.
got about 10 minutes in, and I was like, I can't watch it.
Yeah. So Reefer Madness, and the other one was Sex Madness,
Sure.
about like premarital and
Yeah. Yeah, 'cause there's a bunch of girl
burden
ones too, like
sex.
kittens in jail. Or,
Oh, and
was
that's a
that
whole
later on? Is
that's
that
a
like
whole
Corman
other
style
one. That's
stuff?
a
Yeah.
women in prison
Yeah.
subgenre. That's Caged Heat and Reform
Caged
School
Heat,
Girls.
yes.
Had Wendy O in the Reform
man,
School
that's
Girls,
cool.
which is pretty
wow.
cool.
Like Wendy O. Williams?
Wendy O. Williams,
Oh,
yeah.
man, that's great. I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
yeah, and then like sexploitation, Faster Pussycat Kill Kill. Have you ever seen that in mid '60s?
I know of the band.
Yeah,
Yes.
but even more recently, Showgirls with Elizabeth Berkley
yeah.
could be sort of thrown into that genre. I don't know if
mean,
that
it
was
was-
meant to be a B movie.
One of the most hated
I don't think
films of all
I don't think it
time,
was
right?
meant to be a B film, but it definitely became a B film
Yeah.
because of how
Oh,
terrible
man.
it was.
Yeah. So then there was like Psycho. Came out in the late '60s.
He was already established, though, right?
Hitchcock, big time, yeah.
Yeah.
But it started the slasher movie genre,
Do you think that?
subgenre.
I mean, Psycho was inspired by Ed Gein of the '50s
Mm-hmm.
in the Midwest, and that killer, that real life killer, inspired Psycho, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and Hannibal Lecter. Trump's favorite.
Yeah,
Hannibal Lecter.
favorite celebrity.
Oh, who knows?
The
Oh, my
late
God.
great Hannibal Lecter.
I know it's too much.
Yeah.
It's too much.
So in the '60s and '70s, these B movies went to places called Grindhouses, and these Grindhouses were just late night sort of cheap cinemas, right?
Yeah.
And it might have been like
Sure, when you're
the
bored,
Roxy.
the Roxy or the Renton Civic Theater, because
because it wasn't a highbrow.
It wasn't a
theater
highbrow.
either, you know.
well, it
That was because I saw Friday the 13th. It was like 1, 2, and 3 in a row there.
Right.
But I guess that's the early 80s or
Yeah.
mid 80s or whatever. That
It would have been. It would have been like mid to late 80s, I think.
something
because-
like that. But because they were playing triple features there.
yeah,
You know, it's like
for $2 a movie or
they
whatever.
don't even. It was just
$1.50 a movie.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and we talked about a little bit ago about the monster movies, the early monster movies, but there was also a bunch in the 60s and 70s. I don't know if you remember these, like Tarantula, Day of the Animals, Piranha.
Them.
And more recently, the Sharknado series.
Yeah.
It's just kind of this corny
I mean,
alligators in the sewers.
I think
and,
the difference between Sharknado and those other ones is those other ones I don't think were making them to be terrible.
which ones?
And Sharknado's tongue in cheek. You know what I
Sharknado was intentionally stupid.
Right, but which ones were you thinking?
I'm like the early, like the early, like nuclear. waste.
Tarantula,
Like,
Piranha,
and
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
Some
think-
of them I know,
I
but
don't
they're
think they
still
were, though.
cheaply produced, right?
But yeah, they weren't intentionally making them bad. It's like the original Evil Dead. He did not
Yeah.
make it intentionally bad. People just fucking thought it was hilarious because of how bad it was.
yeah.
Well,
I mean, no, he said
It
that.
was badly good.
oh yeah, no, it's
He
amazing.
says like we
Yeah,
did
no.
this. We made this, making it a
it's number
serious.
2 on my list.
It-
I think Dead by Dawn. The very first one is this early work, but Dead by Dawn is a masterpiece.
No, I was talking
yeah.
about Evil Dead, which
Yeah.
is Sam Raimi. But
Yeah.
he did that one as a serious movie. Then seeing how people liked how terrible it was, and he decided to make the second one intentionally funny.
Wasn't Bruce Campbell like friends with Sam Raimi or his
They're-
older brother or
They
something?
were like college buddies or something.
Something like
all
that.
of
Yeah,
them
the
were
Raimi
all college
brothers,
friends.
Yeah, but I mean, God bless him for finding and discovering Bruce Campbell, right?
Yeah,
if
yeah.
nothing
Yeah,
else.
the most of them. It's
And Campbell lives
magnificent.
down in Oregon.
Yeah, but
somewhere.
don't tell anybody because he doesn't want to.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, thanks for telling him my address. He's got a new series out.
Yeah.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, I actually remember hearing him on KSW with BJ Shea and Rev and Fuego. I was like, "Yeah, you live in Oregon, right?" He's like, "Yeah, thanks for telling everyone where I live, Rev."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember Day of the Animals. That was when all the animals were attacking humans. And I remember Leslie Nielsen, I believe it was Leslie Nielsen that was in it.
Was it like his serious role for him?
I think so, because all these people were trapped on like a mountainside and they were trying to, and he was kind of like the alpha male.
Yeah.
And he ended up stabbing this, there was a young couple, like a teenage, early 20s couple.
Right.
And he ended up spearing the boyfriend because they got into an argument or something. But I want to say it was Leslie Nielsen, I'm pretty sure.
Sure, because he'd done Forbidden Planet. And,
Yeah, he'd done
so
all
it's like
kinds
he
of
was
stuff.
doing serious stuff.
Yeah.
And he's a strikingly handsome guy. I could
Well,
totally see that.
yeah.
And so is George Papard, for that matter.
George Papard is a good looking dude.
yeah, he was all Mr. Man.
Yeah.
But then he found his true calling. Yeah.
On the A team, yeah.
Yes. I mean, that was the best role ever for him. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But we kind of briefly talked about this already, but the biker films, Easy Rider, I mean, Peter Fonda was big. He had the Easy Rider and he had the Wild Angels. And I know Mr. Mayor Mike here had a certain outgoing answering machine message from the Wild Angels.
Oh, gee, that's right. That was my...
Where Peter Fonda's making a speech towards the end of the movie.
Nice.
And he's like, what do we want? We want to get high.
We want to ride our machines without being passed by the man. We want to get loaded.
That's what it was. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Tons of those biker movies.
Oh, sure.
And I saw a lot of
Just striking
those.
while the iron's hot.
Yeah.
Just like you say, it takes them 6 weeks to pump one of these out.
Yeah.
I still
They go
haven't
straight
seen
to the
Easy
grindhouse.
Rider.
They launder.
You haven't seen Easy Rider?
I've never seen Easy
It's
Rider.
not a great movie. It's an interesting movie, but it's not a great movie.
No, but it's kind of a launching pad for Hopper, too.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
Hopper and-
he'd been around a bit, but...
Wasn't Jack Nicholson also in that movie too?
Yeah, he had a brief. He was the third musketeer for the duo, but he doesn't start out, so he's like there until the middle. Like
And he plays like a straight dude, right? He's not like the
he
crazy.
is a drunk lawyer.
Okay.
That sort of gets in with the two guys.
Okay.
And then starts to travel with them very briefly, but they get busted in some town. He's like the lawyer that gets him out on bail or something, and then they all take off together.
Young Nicholson.
Yeah.
And Fonda did kind of went back to doing a motorcycle movie when he was in the first of the Ghost Rider movies. He was.
Was he in the Ghost Rider?
He was Mephistopheles or whatever his name was.
Yeah, no, he's had a great career.
Yeah.
And he's in the second Escape from New York, right? He's in Escape from L.A.
Escape from L.A.
He's also in Boondock Saints 2, All Saints Day.
Oh, man. Huh.
Do we consider the Escape Froms B-movies?
Carpenter.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, some Carpenter.
Because
stuff,
they're Carpenter?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
because
Well,
they're...
I think Escape from L.A. looked like a high-budget film, right?
I think
it was more budget than New York.
I recently tried watching New York, and I ADHD.
Isn't that Adrian Barbeau?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I
The
should
voice
watch
of
that.
Catwoman.
Peach.
Yeah.
The voice of Catwoman. Yeah.
Yeah. Man.
Yeah, that's a B movie for sure.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Would you guys call Boondock Saints B films?
I would, just because it wasn't a wide release, right?
It was
And it's Defoe, and he's been all over, right? So he doesn't.
Yeah.
They're working on a third one, but without the original writer and
People
director.
love that movie,
creator.
dude. They
I love those movies. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a movie that almost seems like a John Woo movie. It's just like infinite bullets. You
I
know
mean,
what
it does.
But they're on a mission from God. So it's different.
It does remind me a lot of like the A-Team as far as like the gunshots and the fight sequences. And
Sure.
Lots of guns going off and
Nobody's getting hit.
Well, I mean, people do get killed, but it's like
The good guys.
thousands of bullets going off and one person gets hit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, another subgenre for the exploitation films was cannibal movies.
Oh yeah.
Jeez.
There was a ton. Do you remember?
Well, The Hills Have Eyes, but that was
Yeah.
the 70s, right? But that was still a
But
big...
that is 60s and 70s.
I remember watching that movie on USA Up All Night. In
Those
The Hills Have Eyes?
Oh, no,
Yeah,
it
in the
freaked me out when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I would go to Pike Place Market to get Fangoria magazine because they had it at Golden Age Collectibles.
Golden Age
Yeah.
Collectibles had it.
Nice.
Yeah, I
And
used
so
to.
I'd go down
Is
there.
Golden Age still there?
I think so.
It was 6 months ago.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that place is.
It's been a few years since I've been down there, so.
I remember that was the first time I saw like Star Wars action figures.
Yeah, Motel Hell.
Yes, Motel Hell.
But the Italians were doing it. The French were doing it, just making weird. And maybe it was cocaine. I don't know, because there's something made all these seem like good ideas.
Charles, you know what we should do? If Golden Age is still there, they sell scripts for movies.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I bought one time.
Yeah.
For Bailey. I don't remember what I got.
That's neat.
And we should grab
We should
one
put
of those.
our Smurfy Smurfmas in there. We'll just
Sell
sneak it
the
onto the
Smurfy
shelf.
and autograph.
$20. Send our cut.
They're like,
Oh my God! We talked about car exploitation films. We sort of hinted on blaxploitation. There was a ton of blaxploitation because I think it preyed on the fear of the white public to have these powerful African American black.
and it got
folks.
sold as a type of like black empowerment as well. Right?
Yes, I think it did.
Some degree.
I think that's kind of where the directors and the writers and the actors all saw it from.
Yeah,
But
it portrayed like black people as prostitutes and pimps and a bunch of shit like that, right?
It also portrayed them as like the good guy and you know and all
Exactly, the vigilante good guy. Or
Yeah.
whatever,
like a good
and sometimes the films or a movie's a fucking movie.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't always want to read too far into somebody's motivations for making a movie work.
I know.
Because then they're on set and they get to see beautiful boobs too.
Yeah.
Everybody wins.
Everybody wins.
Then I'm trying to remember the name of that movie now. There's that movie that Undercover Brother was kind of like
genius.
Like a
2000 version, homage to like the blaxploitation. It had great soundtrack and the token white guy was NPH.
Yeah.
So I mean it was a funny movie. They did
it's
a
a funny
sequel and it wasn't nearly as good.
The big movies for them were like Black Caesar, Coffee, Foxy Brown with
Pam Grier,
Shaft, of course, Sweetback's badass song. This was like Mario Van Peebles and his dad and all that stuff.
But in Eddie Murphy did a movie recently about the guy who did the Dolomite movie.
Dolomite, yeah.
Which was great. Actually, I watched that and I went back and looked for the Dolomite movies. They're all on like either Freevee, which is Amazon, or Tubi, or one of the other free streaming sites.
Yeah, because for white people, it was Dirty Harry. Or
yes, because then it was the cop, or there was the vigilante films like Death Wish series, the Charles Bronson stuff. Yeah.
Death Wish. Oh yeah, they
never
went on and
I
on.
never saw
like
those either.
5 of them.
Yeah, who was his lady? Not London. What was her name? They were together for Mass and did a bunch of films together.
I don't know.
I really like Charles Bronson. He just came across as a legit tough guy.
Yeah.
I don't know if he was or not.
Yeah.
But,
that strong, silent type.
Yeah. With a mustache.
I think he was Hungarian.
Oh, sure. With a mustache like that, for sure. Riding around on horses. Just trampling.
Yeah, but he got away with playing like a Mexican in the Magnificent Seven and stuff like that. So it's like, oh, you got dark hair. You're going to play the Mexican.
Yeah, I mean, I just pretend it's a stage production.
Yeah.
There's like 7 people who showed up. So it's like you got to pick between them.
You talking about Charles Bronson's wives?
Yeah.
Harriet Tendler, Jill Ireland,
Jill Ireland, yeah.
Kim Weeks.
Yeah.
Jill Ireland was a knockout.
Yeah. And they did films together. And
I think so.
I think so too. Yeah. Cool.
He was a corporal in the Army.
Yeah, and in
and the Air Force.
Yeah, and on the early Twilight Zone movie or series.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we talked about the Italian movies, Mike. Nazi exploitation was huge in the 70s. There's a ton of Isla, the she-wolf of the SS, all these death camp things that were just these super campy, super cheesy, like the Gestapo.
Where they were the good guys?
No. They're the bad guys, but it's like torture porn almost, right? It's like, oh my God, we got captured by Isla, the she-wolf of the SS, and now she's going to torture us, but her shirt's going to pop open at some point. No, it really is,
Man, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and a lot of those were made in Italy.
Sure there's Nazi kink out there.
I'm sure there is.
Dear Lord.
I mean, there's a lot of people who like wearing the Nazi uniforms, thinking that makes them look tough and whatnot.
Yeah.
Hopefully not amongst my known friends and associates.
I mean,
Yeah. But speaking of Italy, they got their name somehow. Spaghetti Westerns were huge because you could go to Europe and you could film in Spain, you could film in Italy for a hell of a lot cheaper than you could here. So they would build these towns and it would be sort of dubbed over, right? The non-American actors, right, would be their voice would be dubbed, and you could kind of pick up on a little bit.
They also had to send it to other places in Europe.
Yeah.
Right? If it was filmed in Italy, but it was or filmed in Spain, but it was an Italian production company, they're shipping it all the fuck over.
Yeah.
So it's all post, right?
Sergio Leone, man, he was.
I think he's an excellent filmmaker.
Badass filmmaker.
Yes.
Did he do Once Upon a Time in the West?
I think so.
Yeah, because that was a huge one too.
Yeah.
Charles Bronson and Henry Fonda.
Yeah.
That was that was an epic movie.
Yeah.
Jason Robards is in that as well. So
I'm going to write that down. That's a good movie.
That is a good movie.
And The Good, the Bad, the Ugly is amazing.
Oh, amazing.
It's amazing.
Yeah, that whole trilogy is just great.
But that's just so big.
It is, really.
There's some scenes in that are the battle scene over the bridge or whatever. I mean, how many people are on set, dude? It's insane. How's he telling the producer, you know what we're going to do? Just 5,000 extras.
That's all
in costume.
That's when they hired the Italian army to come out and be extras, right?
Was there any movie that was like or a series that would they consider them less than B-rated, like as in worse than B-rated movies?
Oh, I don't know. There's probably a lot of C movies out there that are just cheap student product. I don't know, TX.
Or, is that the holiday movies on the Hallmark?
On the Hallmark.
Oh my God! Yeah. You know, there's
that was AI scripting before AI scripting.
Mike, on Freevee they do have a on the streaming channels they have on Freevee they have a channel that's nothing but Christmas movies.
No,
God.
Because it's just pop music of movies, right? It's like, it makes you feel good, and they loved each other forever. It's like, fuck, everybody's
never
like,
had any
just put that on in the background, so you don't go out and murder people.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking, Rocky Horror had to have been.
Rocky Horror's on my list because that was a huge phenomenon, and not because it was a great movie at the time.
Yeah,
it didn't do well in theaters, from what I understand, and it didn't get its second life until a decade later.
The midnight showings, right?
Yeah.
I really don't know, but it's a masterpiece.
Have either of you gone to a Rocky Horror show?
Not a live one.
I went. The first time I went to see Rocky Horror was at a convention. RustyCon had a production every year of Rocky Horror Picture Show, and then they would ask people in the audience who's never seen Rocky before, and people would raise their hands, and they would bring them up, and they go, who has never seen Rocky at a convention? And I raised my hand because I hadn't seen it. I didn't want to say I hadn't seen it in the real world, but I was like, God damn, I have to say yes to this. So they brought me up on stage and did all the things they do to the newbies who've never seen the Rocky virgins. Yeah, they put a V on my forehead. They
give you lap dance.
No, they make you deep throat a banana though.
No, geez, no, thank you.
At least the production I went to did.
I have a strong gag reflex.
Legitimately, guys,
I strike out with
I put it in my mouth and I just bit it off and ate it. I was like, I wasn't going to deep throat nothing.
Yeah.
Wow, no, I never had that. But at the Neptune up in U District.
Exactly. I did go to
Elwood and Paul Lammer.
I didn't stay.
Often. Yeah.
I didn't stay for the whole thing because there was so much chaos. I can't do
and
this.
the film holds up on its own. It's a masterpiece.
Yeah.
Because you can tell they did it on stage a fazillion times.
Yeah.
Because they have every single fucking thing down pat.
Right.
And they're all just super professionals.
And you can get when you buy the DVD. Or if you rent the DVD, I should say, you can get the one that has the alternate audio track, which gives the secondary lines, so you can feel like you're in the theater watching it with the people throwing toast and popcorn and whatever else. And,
nice.
And the music in the movie is great. The movie itself is.
Did Jim Steinman write some of that, or?
No, I think that was all
Richard
O'Brien, did it, and he's the one who's like the bald dude, the
riffraff.
Yeah. What's really funny is he's the dad on the Disney cartoon Phineas and Ferb.
Oh, that's cool.
And
he's a really talented guy.
Yeah,
and I know it's chock full.
They're bringing that back, by the way.
It's incredible.
Susan Sarandon, right?
Yeah, I mean, come on, Barry Bostwick.
And
I met Barry Bostwick when we were at SummerCon.
Tim Curry and Tim Curry's unbelievably good at it.
Unbelievable. Everything he does.
And when they did, I think Fox did the live TV version, and Curry was the doctor.
Dr. Scott.
Dr. Scott. Yeah.
Janet, Dr. Scott. Janet, Brad, Rocky.
Yeah.
It's great.
Oh man,
Fuck.
Oh geez, I got a few more on the list. Mike, you're a big fan of that. Probably the Chopsocky stuff. All the Taiwan movies came over. All the kung fu stuff.
Oh yeah, it was great.
I love the kung fu movies.
Oh yeah.
From the 60s and 70s. During the 80s, when we first got our VCR, I was renting Bruce Lee movies all the time.
Oh, sure.
And I think it was KSTW or KCPQ,
Kung Fu Theater,
Saturday nights or something.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And they would do 2 or 3.
They were churning them out. Like
Channel 11.
Just churning them
It was
out.
Channel 11 that did that, I think.
Was it? Yeah. Used to love that stuff.
Yeah.
Because they're at that time, right? The 60s and 70s, the cinema there, that whole industry was like our industry was in the 30s, right? So it was kind of like rough on the artists, the workers, but it's gotten way better. Right?
Yeah.
So,
No,
I don't know.
In the 80s, all those were really popular because there was a bunch of like ninja films and stuff too.
It went bonkers, but a lot of those were American.
Yeah, American Ninja was one of my favorite movies.
But the show Kasuchi and stuff, those films were made in the U.S., right?
Yeah.
They weren't made.
No, I'm talking about, I would say the ones I remember watching were like all the Bruce Lee films were all made over there, but all the ninja films that I was into were all made here.
Yeah. Oh, they were huge. American Ninja.
Yeah, American Ninja.
Yeah.
Michael Dudikoff.
Yeah. Oh my God. Good call.
Hey, didn't
huge.
Yeah.
Did
Jim
they-
Cotta.
Jim Cotta, so good.
Didn't the kid from...
Who sold that? Who pitched that successfully? Like there's just gonna happen to be a fucking horse and shit for twirling his eyes. It just happens to be. Oh, sorry, bud.
Nah, it's okay. I forgot.
Oh man, yeah, Jim Cotta was something else. Boys, another one, rape revenge movies. I spit on your grave.
You mean Lifetime Channel?
From the Lifetime Channel.
I mean, and it's all Halle Berry.
Yeah. No, but I mean, just back in the day when you would beat the shit out of the woman, do all kinds of bad, and then she comes back. She heals herself. You kill her family, all that stuff, and then she comes back. But the only one I can really think of is that I spit on your grave.
I want a Frankenhooker.
All I know is that early Halle Berry movies were all like that.
Which one are you thinking of?
I don't know. It's just the one where she gets beat to shit. It's basically the same storyline as Rocky, except for it's a woman. She's
Catwoman?
No. She's like in this bad relationship. She gets the hell beaten out of her.
Oh, Monsters Ball?
I don't even know that. You can name all kinds of names, and I wouldn't be able to tell you what it was. All I know is I remember she just is all beat to shit. She's all bloodied and bruised, and at the end, she kills the guy.
Oh man!
So
nice, jeez. Another one we haven't touched on: zombie movies.
Yeah.
I mean, Day of the Dead. What was the first one? Night of the Living.
Night of the Living Dead was the original one.
That was the original one.
Yeah.
But they were doing like zombie movies, time in memoriam, right? Like the voodoo zombies. Like they put a spell on you, and then you're like somebody's slave now because you're controlled by them, right? But Night of the Living Dead. I mean, what a great
what was the guy that did those movies?
Romero, right?
George Romero. That's right. I'm in 2011. I went to my one and only zombie convention because the Boondock Saints were there. I went to see those guys. While I was there, I met the woman who was Barbara in that movie.
Oh, geez.
Barbara, they're coming for you.
Barbara.
And I walked up to her. She's like, I'm really sorry. I don't really know a lot of zombie films. What one are you in? She's like, I'm in the original one. It's like, and she told me, I was like, oh, yeah, I know of the movie. I've never seen it, though. And she's like, oh, that's okay. And
get out there and watch it now.
Yeah, exactly. She's like, go home and watch it. And he was like, all right, I'll check it out. I never did. But I legitimately, the only reason why I even got into The Walking Dead was because of Norman Reedus. So, but yeah, and I also met makeup artist. He was in a lot of Tarantino films. One of the vampires in the vampire that had the codpiece gun.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
He's also like a special effects artist.
Oh, okay.
And I can't think of the guy.
Yeah, I just saw him on an episode of Halloween Wars or something today. The wife was watching reruns of that while she was doing Halloweeny stuff, but I can't think of his name.
I can't think, and honestly, I don't really care if I remember his name because he was kind of a dick.
Oh no!
I walked up and I said, "Oh, dude, I loved you from Dusk Till Dawn. That was a great film." And he goes, "Thanks."
Really?
It was like, yeah, and I said, "I'm sorry, I don't have any money to buy anything off you, but I just wanted to say I really enjoyed you in this movie and that movie." And he just like, whatever, dude. Kind of. He didn't say that, but that was kind of the attitude. Of okay,
that's too bad.
I'm sorry you're having a rough day, but don't be a dick.
Yeah. Last couple here, the mockbuster or the remake exploitation film, which is where you take a movie that did really well, Star Wars, and like in Turkey, you remake it.
The Turkish Star Wars movie where they lifted actual scenes from Star Wars.
Like
they took like the scenes of the TIE fighters and the X-wings flying through space, and it's like it legit. I've seen this in the early days of Google Video before it became YouTube. There was that whole movie was on there, and I watched part of it because it was Star Wars, and I was curious, and the footage looked like someone stood in the back of the theater and recorded it in the theater,
man.
and then just
put it in there.
put it into their own movie.
Yeah, there was a movie that MS3TK did where they used Battlestar Galactica, the original TV show scenes for their space battles in the movie.
Well,
and it was really bad. There was a whole chase scene where they're on like golf carts and they're going like 5 miles an hour, and you're like, can't you just jump out and run over?
Chase them
I can't
down.
remember the name of that movie though.
I speaking of using like Battlestar Galactica scenes, I remember watching a documentary. It might have been Ancient Aliens, but it was one of those types of shows on the History Channel, and they used clips from the newer Battlestar Galactica as well as clips from the original Battlestar Galactica
as their basis,
as
for
their like their
their footage.
because they were talking about like the I guess in India there's stories of like a galactic war that happened, and there's massive, and that's why there's huge parts of the planet that's covered in glass because explosions and shit, but whatever. But they use clips of those, and I'm like, oh my god, they're actually using clips of TV shows that I watched as a kid. It's so funny.
That's awesome. Yeah, tons of like if it's successful, and then there's like a ton of followers. Like we'll talk about Roger Corman in a little bit. Todd mentioned him earlier, where he did some movies that are complete rip-offs of like Alien. Right,
Sure.
stuff like that. So it's just not finding an original idea, just kind of tweaking it in a
Just
cheap
enough to
manner,
get
just
butts
enough.
and seats. You got to get butts and seats.
Yeah.
And back then, right? Because that was even before video, right?
Yeah.
So they had to find distribution.
Or video was like
And I
they
think
had
a lot
it,
of
but
it-
it wasn't.
Video home rentals started like in like late 70s, early 80s.
But it wasn't huge.
Only the only people that could rent videos were people who were really rich, because the machines were like $1,000.
Yeah.
And getting a VHS of a movie to purchase was like $200.
Yeah. I remember babysitting for this young couple that had a kid, and they had a Betamax. All their Betamax was porn. So I remember seeing what's the guy that's got dementia now? Ron Jeremy.
Does he have dementia?
I remember seeing a movie with him in it before I knew who Ron Jeremy was.
The Hedgehog?
Yeah. Banging some chick in the back of a pickup truck. Kind of a movie. But and then they would come home and it's like, oh, do I rewind? Do I be kind and rewind?
Oh, shit. Yeah. No, I think I knew one person back in the day who had a Betamax. And they had both, actually. They had a Betamax and a VHS.
Ooh.
I think we had a VHS because it was hard to find Betamax tapes.
Yeah, but I think in a lot of ways it was the superior system.
That's what people say, yeah.
It had stereo sound. I remember that, and I remember the picture was also better. But because it was the VHS was cheaper to make and people were able to buy them without any problems. That's why it took off.
Yeah.
Same thing with HD, DVD, and Blu-ray.
Yeah, Blu-ray.
Yeah.
Although I think Blu-ray has
Laserdisc.
more. Yeah, Laserdisc.
Oh, fuck, yeah.
Kind of a right in the middle there.
So in the early days of Kevin Smith, there on one of his director's commentary, he talks shit about DVD because like Blu-ray is the future. Blah blah. Why would you want DVD? And then his next movie came. I said, I was wrong about DVD. Laserdisc is nothing anymore. So
Yeah. And finally, boys, the documentary B movie, right? Do you know where I'm going with this?
Is Spinal Tap?
Well, that was good.
Come on, dude. That was a mockumentary.
Mockumentary. I'm talking about actual documentary.
Like that.
But like Faces of Death.
Faces of Death.
Right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Shit like that, where they just put crap
Yeah, oh yeah.
together.
I never saw those. I know
Yeah, my
of the
brother always talking.
But that was more VCR. Was that ever in theaters?
I don't think
or
that was ever in theaters. That might have just been a
been
video
tape.
tape release.
But that
I remember kids in the playground talking about watching that.
Totally. No, it was a huge, and that was the thing. It was just by word of mouth, I think.
Yeah.
That was kind of the phenomenon of that particular one.
Yeah.
Although mockumentaries are I would say could be considered B films.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know, because like I have a list here of potential. They're independent, low money films, but they're not bad films, right? I mean, they could be, or some of them are bad, but they could be good.
Bad, yeah.
But like The Room.
Oh, that was terrible.
Terrible movie.
God awful movie.
It's funny as fuck. It's funny as fuck.
I would recommend watching.
But unintentionally.
No,
unintentionally.
Unintentionally, in fact, the guy who created that story and made that movie. If you've seen the Disaster Artist, which is a movie about the making of The Room, he was upset that people were laughing
at it. I think he's embraced it. Tommy Wiseau. I think he's sort of embraced it now because it's got such a cult following. Yeah. And so it did. I don't know. I haven't heard anybody talking about it anymore, but it's just such a bizarre movie.
I think the last time I saw him in anything, he did a video, I think, for Kimmel, where he was doing an audition for the Joker in the for
Chad Apatow or whatever.
the Suicide Squad movie. Oh. But he shows up looking like Ledger's Joker, and he's like, I mean, it's Tommy, so it's his cadence and how he delivers lines.
Yeah.
It's like, think of the worst actor you've ever seen in your life, and then realize that guy is better than Tommy.
But this guy's throwing in The Room. He's throwing in, because he's the director, he's the producer, he's the main star. So he's throwing in like sex scenes and he's doing all this stuff. But he's all over the place.
Every 10 minutes, dude, seriously, every 10 minutes there's a sex scene where you start off seeing his ball sack and his ass. No.
I don't remember. But yeah, so definitely because it wasn't studio backed, it was independent. I mean, but it didn't get any kind of wide release, so definitely a B movie.
It has gone like Rocky Horror, like cult.
I think they do midnight showings in places,
right? And so I guess there's a fine line between.
So like Eraserhead, right? That's an art film, right? Who's that again? That's
Lynch.
Lynch, yeah.
David Lynch.
That didn't get a wide release or anything like that.
I'm aware of it. Yeah.
Oh no, it's not pleasant.
Friggin' bizarre, and it's not pleasant.
It's not supposed to be pleasant.
Yeah.
Right? He's an effective filmmaker, and he's effective at getting his vision across, but his vision is very distinctly his vision. Yeah. So it's hard for others to visit that place.
But Clerks, I mean, that's way low budget. He had no budget,
studio
almost. No studio
he
backing.
Maxed out, was it 2 or 3 credit cards to make that movie?
Yes.
Yeah.
Saved up his money as much as he could and then maxed out the credit cards to make that thing. But that would be considered a B movie, right? Because it didn't...
It has a cult following for sure, yeah.
It does now, but at the time, I bet it didn't get a full coast-to-coast release. Right?
Kevin, I know we talked about it a couple weeks ago. He finally got the rights back to Dogma, and he's talking about also finally doing a sequel to Mallrats.
Oh.
And largely, and is probably going forward largely because Shannon Doherty passed away, and that was one of the things that she wanted was that movie to be made. So
yeah. Early Quentin Tarantino, Reservoir Dogs, right?
That was a good movie.
But that didn't probably get a wide release, right? I don't even think he wasn't a household name when that came out, because he had written True Romance, but this is the first one he wrote and directed.
He did True Romance?
He wrote it.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. But the other, not Blade Runner, but Blade Runner's brother, the guy who did
Scott?
Yeah.
Not Ridley, but
not Ridley, but his brother.
Damn, I can't think what was.
Scott. I think passed away.
Yeah, he jumped off the bridge.
Oh shit.
Yeah, he had terminal cancer or something.
Oh geez, but it's still a very capable director.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an awesome. A True Romance is one of my favorites of all. And Gary Oldman is
he's
brilliant in that thing.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Memento. Do you guys remember Memento?
Yeah, no, that's a good
Oh,
film.
that's an independent film.
Guy Pearce.
I'm aware of it, but never saw it.
You never
It's a
saw
good
Memento?
film. It's a good film.
It takes you on a weird, strange backwards trip through the movie because his memory problems. It's a really well done
And
film.
it's got Trinity in it.
Carrie-Anne Moss.
Carrie-Anne Moss.
Yeah, and Pantalone. What's his name? Joey Pants.
Yeah.
Joey Pants, yeah.
And it's a good film.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, I forgot.
But you consider that a
Adventure.
B movie, right? Because it didn't get.
I mean,
Geez.
I wouldn't call it a B
Yeah,
film.
because those are three pretty big stars.
Yeah.
I mean, all three of them could be.
Were they big stars when that came
That's
out?
a good question. Was that Guy Pearce's introduction?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to see this movie now. If you
It's a
can't
good movie.
No, it's just the way
Guy
Guy Pearce.
See, that's just how he looks. He can't help it.
He's got that model.
I know.
No, I've seen him. I saw him in Iron Man 3.
Oh,
so.
yeah, no, he does.
Yeah.
He does good work. He can deliver.
Oh, that's right. He was the bad guy. The
Yeah.
Sure was. Did a great
energy,
job.
whatever thing that he had going on.
No, I want to say Mandalorian, but no, it's not. It's Mandarin.
So good. It is so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all these movies came off of like the IMDb best independent
Yeah.
movie or low
think
budget. So I
that-
was just kind of figuring out.
I think there's a difference between low budget and independent and
Definitely.
and B film. B film is a style. It's not necessarily the lack of fundage.
Yeah, that's kind of why I'm like Blair Witch, another one that was made
That
for
would absolutely be a B film. Yeah.
Yeah.
Made
I would
for
say it's a Z film because
Yeah,
I,
right.
I didn't like it.
too much motion.
Well, no, the thing is, I was stoked for that movie because the marketing for it was fantastic.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god, this is gonna be great. And then that motion thing was like, oh god damn it, why did you have to ruin this movie?
Well,
Marketing was brilliant. 3 unknown actors.
Yeah.
I think unknown
who
directors.
fucking delivered?
Yes.
Dude, once again, I say this all the time. Anytime somebody brings up Blair Witch, but the snot bubble, is
dude.
fucking, that is acting.
Yeah.
You're committed, bro.
Heather Donahue, who couldn't
Magnificent.
get anything going after that because, she was dead, right? She did.
I really enjoyed that.
Why is that guy in the corner?
Yeah, it's so fucked up. It's just,
The pop culture references to that movie have been hysterical. Like the Scary Movie guys made reference to that scene, that specific scene
With
the snot bubble kept getting bigger and bigger. And then I still think my favorite one is that Cartoon Network did a spoof on it with Scooby Doo. And if you've never seen the Blair Scooby Project,
nice.
I'll have to check it out.
I think it's on YouTube.
How about this one? Brilliant film. Also has big name actors, especially at the time, but could be considered a B movie because it's low budget, all that stuff. Independent. Being John Malkovich.
Oh, sure.
John Cusack.
I would say that's more of an art
Catherine
house.
Kinnear.
That was an art house movie more than a B film, because B films are movies that you could have easily watched on USA Up All Night in the 90s. These are movies that would never have been on USA Up All Night.
Okay.
And I guess if a B movie, just like a B side, is kind of tacked on.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to push it along with the popular one. Right? I don't know, because what would be a double feature with Being John
No,
Malkovich?
but I think because after the Golden Age, the idea of B movie kind of changed.
Sure.
Right.
I guess. I don't know. I still think that it's less about the. It is about the amount of money they spent, but it's also about the styling of it. Like, I think the closest thing we're going to see, like currently in the last 20 years, to a B film are the Sci-Fi Channel Sharknado and the Sharktopus and all the other weird
The
fucking
Dan Bonaducci Bigfoot
stuff.
movie on Sci-Fi.
seriously, all these sci-fi movies that are like they tout them as like big budget films, but when you see them, it's like this is clearly on a shoestring budget for a cable network.
And with the advent of like digital media, where you're not having to buy film, you're not having to develop the stuff.
and
you can retake over and over again.
Yeah.
You can get a group of friends to come over and film a movie in a weekend, right?
Do you guys smell smoke? Is it just me?
I don't smell smoke.
I smell it's like a marshmallow.
Marshmallow.
I was just like burning, something burning either way. It was really.
Oh, there it is.
Stroke.
It smells like someone's
stroke.
You had,
I'm rowing as fast as I can. I think I'm having one, Smithers.
Finally on this list, you mentioned earlier, I don't think he was in this, but because of the
No, his medical.
the El Mariachi, basically.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's Robert Rodriguez, and you talked about
from Dusk Till Dawn.
Dusk Till Dawn.
Dude,
that was the one he came out with first. That was his first.
El Mariachi.
They remade it.
They did a remake in Hollywood.
Desperado.
Yeah.
With Selma Hayek in one of her early roles.
Antonio Banderas, dude.
Antonio. Selma Hayek.
Selma Hayek was in From Dusk Till Dawn as well.
Yes.
Butt naked in that one.
Yeah. Well, she was in both, but
she's
yeah.
incredible.
Yeah, she's incredible.
She's also in Dogma, butt naked.
She's talented. She's not hard on the eyes. She's the full deal.
Yeah, she was the muse in.
She was the muse in Dogma,
yeah.
And she's one of those Latina actors that even with an accent you can understand what she's saying.
Yeah. So most of these we wouldn't consider as B movies just because they're low budget or art films, right?
I think
kind of what we're feeling.
Yeah. I think
it's case by case, but
I mean, it depends on the movie and the genre that it's in, because a lot of the genre films that are considered B film are usually horror films, or like exploitation of some sort.
There's a ton because I do a lot of TV watching while I'm working because I need something in the background, either music or a show on or something.
Yeah.
I can only watch so much Judge Judy, so I'll have like these Prime Video horror movies, right? But they're like the two guys on a weekend because they got Dad's digital Canon movie camera and they pump out a quick horror movie.
Right.
Because that's kind of the gateway film, right?
I think
kind of is.
I think almost every horror film could be considered a B film because they're always low budget. I mean, even Tusk, as terrible as that movie was for me, I absolutely.
Well, so would that be a B movie? Because
I would consider that a B film because of how it wasn't really like high budget, but it wasn't low budget either. But it was definitely the type of shit you see in a B film.
And he wasn't expecting to get a wide release on that.
He didn't have a wide release on it because he toured that one. A lot of his since I think the last big budget one, which I think was Zack and Miri, he hadn't done like a wide release. Actually, I take that back. Clerks 2, I think was.
That was the last. And 4:30 movie was that? Did that get a wide release?
I would think
it
so.
did actually. That's actually one of the more recent ones, and that's probably the first one in a long time he's had a wide release, because all the other ones he's done have all been on a tour. He released them on a tour where he'd do a Q&A.
And then it goes to streaming.
Where he'd answer one question and we'd see the movie, because his answers take forever to answer. I love Kevin Smith, but he needs to be able to shorten his answers. But
Jeez. Well, here's movies. I typed in best B movies or greatest B movies into the IMDb search engine as well. And here's just a few. And a couple of these I'm like, okay, is that really a B movie? But Foxy Brown. You knew that. We talked about that. Blaxploitation. Yep. Toxic Avenger.
Absolutely.
Anything by Trauma really is
all the Trauma stuff.
You know what? And I recently rewatched it because it's a great film and it's terrible at the same time. Yeah. Is Cannibal the Musical, which was Trey Parker and Matt Stone's college movie that they did in college, and they shopped it around in Hollywood, and I can't remember the dude who runs Trauma, but he saw it and said, "Oh yeah, we'll release it." And I remember watching that or hearing about that, and then going and renting it, and it was terrible. But it was
we'll give you $250.
It was so funny. Oh my! So it's about Alfred Packer, the only person to be, I think until recent years, to be put in jail or prison for cannibalism in the States, and it's a musical about this. So all the music is done by Trey Parker.
Nice.
So, and Yeah, you have to watch this movie, and if nothing else, watch it with the director's commentary, because the director's commentary, they get drunk throughout the commentary, and every time someone says the word Spodoinkle, they take a shot. And that word is in the movie quite a bit. So
nice.
they get about 75% through the movie, and all of a sudden they go silent, and then you hear Trey tripped over the mic cable.
Nice. Plan 9 from Outer Space we talked about. Todd's first B movie, he thinks Death Race 2000, 1975. Here's a couple I wasn't sure I would have considered B movies, but Cyborg with Jean-Claude Van Damme. I remember the movie.
That's a little too high budget, I think.
I don't know. I mean, they have it up there. And a lot of his movies they kind of consider B movies, right?
Yeah, geez, the muscles from Brussels.
Yeah, kind of that low budget fight movie, right?
I mean, was the one where he's being chased through the bayou?
Oh, Hard Target.
Yeah, that was a great film. I love that one. He's being hunted. He's being hunted by some southern asshole.
Yeah.
And yeah.
There's so many of those because that was based on like that desert one. I can't remember the name of the book, but
All
anyway.
I know is that John Leguizamo did a similar story, but it was way better. The Pest. Oh my god, that could be considered a B film, I think.
And then what? I never saw this, but Dolph Lundgren in Masters of the Universe.
I did see this movie in theaters because at the time I was still a huge fan of He-Man. I still like He-Man, but I'm not like a fanboy or anything. But
Yeah.
I remember going to the theater. I saw the theater over in Bremerton, actually. No, Paulsbo. Fuck, no. What's the town that's just south of Bremerton?
Bainbridge, Paulsbo, Silverdale, one of those.
Port Orchard. That's
Port
what
Orchard.
B.O.
Port Orchard. And I don't remember why we were in Port Orchard. I just remember we were on my mom's boat. We stopped there for whatever, and we were going to be there for a few hours. So I went and saw that movie, and I remember thinking, this is going to be great because, that's the guy from the Rocky movies, and he totally looks like He-Man. And I was like 12 or 13 at the time, and I was so excited. And I watched it like, oh man, there's none of the characters from the show in this movie except for He-Man and Tila and Men-at-Arms and Skeletor. That's it. Nobody else. But yeah.
And didn't they have to? That was like I don't know what the budget was, but didn't they have to finish it really fast because the studio was like, "Hey, we need you to hurry this up because He-Man toy sales are down, and we need to get this out so we can boost our
For Christmas
or whatever."
There is a documentary about He-Man, the toy, as well as the cartoon that talks about the movie, and they interviewed Dolph Lundgren and the guy who played Skeletor, and I can't remember the guy's name, but he's a massive actor. It was basically they halfway through the production of the movie they lost their budget. They no longer had the money to finish the movie, so they had to quickly do a bunch of shit to kind of tie things
stupid
together.
Effects that just were cheap.
They changed a bunch of shit. Number one, and then that's I think one of the reasons why I was like, this movie is not nearly as good as I was expecting it to be.
Yeah, I just say, whenever that happens, just turn the lights down.
Dude, I'll say this: the special effects, effects and the makeup effects were great. The story was garbage, largely because I think they had to reshoot a bunch of shit to make it all fit within the budget they still had.
Would you consider it a B movie? Just thinking back on it.
Yeah, I think kind of. You know what? Because it was. I think it legitimately looked like it was thrown together in a weekend.
Yeah.
I mean, it was not great.
Yeah.
But it was.
Dolph's great.
Dolph Lundgren's great. I think.
He's an overachiever.
And chick from Friends, I think, is also in it too.
Courtney Cox.
Courtney Cox.
She's in that.
Yeah.
Now I might have to watch it.
She'd be pretty young.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was
she'd be right there with the Springsteen video.
Yeah, it's around. It was '87 when it came out.
Okay. Yeah.
Friends started in what?
I forgot about that
94?
Springsteen. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that was and Misfits of Science. She was in Misfits of Science.
Right. Yeah. Honestly, it's worth watching at least once, and more if you enjoyed it. But I don't know anybody who actually want to rewatch that movie. So.
Yeah, He-Man missed my youth. It was a bunch of, my mom ran a daycare for years, and the kids that were coming to the daycare were big into He-Man. I had to have been 13 or 14. I was kind of sort of past it.
I was an older fan at the time.
Yeah.
When it came out originally, I think it was 85, 84. So it came out right around the same time as Transformers. And I was a massive Transformers fan.
Yeah.
And, is it the same production company for the animation?
No, He-Man was done by the same people that did like the. It's Filmation. Filmation did it.
Okay.
It's the same people that did the other Ghostbusters.
Yeah, so I knew of the cartoon. I knew it was on. I think I watched a lot of G.I. Joe cartoons back then.
Yeah.
Galaxy Rangers was one of my favorites.
Yeah.
What was some of the other? We'll have to do a cartoon. Saturday morning cartoon, but also after school.
I have
cartoon.
a lot of these things on my Plex at home. I actually have a playlist. It's called Saturday Morning Cartoons.
Nice.
It's kind of like a comfort playlist. I'll play that if I'm having a shit day.
Nice.
And it'll go through everything from like the shows you mentioned, Ghostbusters and Smurfs, and all the Hanna-Barbera stuff from the 60s that we had on reruns as a kid.
Nice.
Like Grape Ape and Adam Ant.
Right. Yeah.
The banana splits. I found the banana split.
Speed Buggy or whatever.
Speed Buggy, yeah.
What is
Speed Buggy, yeah.
We'll have to do a Saturday morning cartoon episode. Yeah. Speaking of Smurfs, folks, this coming December, this here podcast is doing another radio parody for the holiday
Papa
season.
Smurf says you need to watch it.
Papa Smurf does say we're doing a very Smurfy Smurfsmas.
I think Charles
Coming
needs
to a radio near you.
Charles needs to rewatch some Smurfs, man.
Yeah, I'll have to go to the diction coach because there's a lot of S's.
Yeah, too many S's.
I definitely have issues with my S's because of the lack of teeth.
Nice. Boys, actors primarily associated with B movies, and there's a ton of them, and this is mostly just because they starred in more than one, or that's kind of what their career. And some of these guys were in A-list movies, but have done a lot of B movies, so they're kind of associated with it. But Bela Lugosi, Eddie Constantine, Bruce Campbell, of course, we talked about him earlier. I mean, come on.
Every moment of his is an Oscar.
A steam career.
He's a treasure.
Because he was like Bubba Hotep and friggin', all
But I would even say like Maximilian Schell shows up in weird spots. And he's a respected actor.
Yeah, that's true. Lance Henriksen. He's big time. But he did Aliens, and he did
Pumpkinhead. But actually, Stan Winston directed Pumpkinhead.
Yeah, that's true.
That was his directorial debut. But I bet that would be considered a movie. But we just happen to love Stan Winston.
Stan Winston's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, Christopher Lambert. Highlander himself. But then, it seemed like every movie he was in had a intense sex scene with Christopher Lambert.
Yeah.
He's that French guy.
Well, I didn't find a nice French Canadian or something. Just hate him. And I would say Mark Dacascos of the modern age, right?
Yes.
Iron Chef.
Yeah.
But, he did a bunch of B stuff.
Yes.
Who else?
Corey Feldman, later career stuff. He started out as a kid actor and was in Goonies, and he was in, what's the vampire one? Lost Boys. Stuff like that. He had a big career, but, at some point the cuteness wore off or whatever, but he was still a working actor, so he did a ton of B-level movies.
Christopher Lee, too, man.
Christopher Lee, yeah.
All the Hammer vampire movies.
Yes.
Which I think were British productions.
Yeah.
Right? I sure think so.
Yeah.
That's what happened to the East End when all the actors moved out.
Yeah. How about this one? Donald Pleasance, because he showed up. He was in like everything from Halloween to...
He's in one of the most famous scenes, right? At the end of The Pod People.
No, that was Donald Sutherland.
Oh, you're right.
Yes.
Oh, Donald Pleasance from, Halloween.
From Halloween.
Yes, thank you.
But a ton of those sort of oddball... I think wasn't he in like some of the Tarantula movies and stuff like that?
Poor guy.
But it was almost like he was
Juilliard graduate.
Yes, I'm saying he's like leading. He was like bringing some credence of acting credence to the film, right?
Who plays the old man in Logan's Run?
I can't remember.
All right, but that's not pleasant.
It's been a long time since I've seen Logan's Run.
It's awful.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
awful.
Yeah. Would that be a B movie?
Maybe. It's really poorly executed.
Poorly done sci-fi.
And Farrah Fawcett, God bless her soul, cannot act. Cannot. She's one of those people that because she's good looking, just gets
she
to
gets
do,
away with
anything.
whatever. Yeah.
It's not fair.
She walks in and anywhere. It's like, let me give you this. Let me give you that. Yeah. Robert Englund, we talked about a lot about last week because of Freddy Krueger, but a lot of his movies, aside from the Nightmare on Elm Street stuff, have been. Because he kind of got typecast.
He did. He really did.
As that, Mario Van Peebles we talked about earlier in the show, but he's done a ton of he did a cyborg movie where he was down in South America or something.
Geez, I can't remember.
Yeah.
Mario Van Peebles. Hey, what's his dad's name?
Can't think of it.
Yeah.
Michael Ironside.
Sure.
Big time.
Yeah.
Michael Rooker, who has had some A-level success, but ton of B stuff.
Rooker?
Right, Todd? Michael Rooker?
Yeah, well, Rooker was in Mallrats.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and Walking Dead.
Walking Dead.
And Suicide
Was he
The
like
pretzel.
Like a chocolate-covered pretzel?
Yeah. Fred Ward.
I love Fred Ward.
Big time. Tremors and stuff like that.
Tremors is in my top 5.
Yeah.
Oh, is okay, nice.
Yeah.
So we're just talking about actors that show up in a lot of B movies. Rutger Hauer,
Yeah, I mean,
she's also a really good
big
actor.
time. Hobo with a shotgun, right?
Yeah.
I have that, but I haven't watched it yet. But one of my favorites is where he's at the Blind Fury.
Oh,
Fury was
yes.
great.
Yes.
Yeah, and the Hitcher, wasn't he the Hitcher?
He does a
Oh my
great
God,
job.
he is
But
horrible.
Lady Hawk.
Lady Hawk.
Right.
Oh my God.
Matthew Broderick.
Broderick, yeah. And what's the
Pfeiffer,
gal?
right?
No, not Elizabeth Shue, but the other one that kind of looks like Fast Times at Ridgemont High, blonde gal, young.
Yeah, isn't that true? That's true.
No.
I don't know.
Single white female.
Jennifer Jason Leigh?
Jennifer Jason Leigh, I think is that. Isn't that who that's in
I
Lady
really
Hawk?
don't know. I don't know if I ever saw
No, that
Lady
was
Hawk.
no.
Oh, did no?
Maybe.
Lady
I feel
Hawk.
like maybe me and my
Oh
girlfriend
no,
went.
I'm thinking of
Michelle Pfeiffer.
yes, I'm
Lady
thinking
Hawk.
of the one. I think it's Rutger Hauer too, but they were launching because it was during the Black Plague.
With Matthew Broderick?
With Matt,
Does
that's
he still
Lady
have
Hawk.
a-
No, that's Lady. You guys are right. That's Lady Hawk.
All right. Because, there's an actual, lady that turns into a hawk kind of thing, right?
Yes, I forgot about that. Yeah,
Rutger Hauer is good, though. Did he just pass?
I
feel
think
like
he
passed.
did. Yeah. Yep. 2019.
Yeah. Oh, man.
He passed away at
The Hitcher is
75.
yeah,
Hitcher
see
is
Thomas Howell,
brilliant.
dude. Oh,
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, no, that movie was good. I saw that with my big brother a bunch.
See, Thomas
Lady
Howell
Hawk's Hitcher.
has become really good at playing the bad guy in the last
Nice.
few years.
All right.
Who did?
See Thomas Howell?
Thomas Howell?
Yes, he showed up in some oddball stuff, and some of the stuff I've seen him in, he's not in it for very long, but
He was in a horror film that came in the last year. He's like the main bad guy, but he was also the main bad guy in the Moon Knight series.
Yes, he was. Oh, no, that's...
He's Thomas Howell, isn't it?
No, that's the other tightly faced dude, Ethan Hawke.
Ethan Hawke.
Yeah,
I
that's
get.
Ethan Hawke.
Well, they're both in.
Yeah, C. Thomas Howell is one of the Brat Pack guys.
yeah.
So is the other guy. I thought.
Ethan Hawke, he was in. He does more artsy movies, but he was also in the movie we watched with the electric cars that all crash and block the highway.
Oh yeah.
He was in that.
That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah. I get those two mixed up all
And
the
his
time.
daughter is in Stranger Things.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
The Rutger Hauer, Jennifer Jason Leigh movie I was thinking about is Flesh and Blood.
No,
I don't know if you've ever seen it, but
never saw it.
Rutger Hauer and his gang of merry misfits kidnap Jennifer Jason Leigh, and they take her to a castle and they take it over. But it's during the Black Plague, and they're wanted men, and they start getting sick and all this stuff. There's a lot of good actors in that, so it's an interesting dumb movie if you want to check it out. But
I mean, any Rutger Hauer is better than no.
yeah, it's true. Robert Davi. Shows up in a lot of B-type movies. I talked about one that I watched. It was a Roger Corman directed one where it was like an A-Team mix with.
I think I remember seeing him in a movie recently. It was an older film, but I remember watching it recently where he's like one of the bad guys or something.
Yeah, he shows up.
Oh, he
gave Davi a sock.
He and Joey Pants were the Fratellis and
yes, the brothers.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
So he shows up in a bunch of stuff. He plays like a mob guy in several movies. I think he was even the mob boss or something in an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie when Schwarzenegger was undercover as an FBI guy that goes undercover into a mob organization. I can't think of the movie, but what was the one that he was in the mid 90s that I talked about? I wrote I think it's like if you're an Italian actor, you have to do at least one. It's required.
One like gangster film where you have to play a gangster of some sort.
Yeah, The Bad Pack. I just watched that recently. It's kind of an A-Team-esque with Roddy Piper, and it's on Prime. I think
Called
The Bad Pack.
Another
Pack.
Movie that would be considered a B film is They Live.
I would think so.
Magnificent film.
Yeah.
Oh,
David
so
Keith
good.
and Roddy Piper.
I need to rewatch that because
it's been too long since I've seen it. Yeah,
man.
Davi was also in Showgirls.
Yeah.
So-
oh no, that guy. Yeah, I know exactly.
He's
what you're
been
talking about.
been around. Let's see, who didn't we mention? Pam Grier, a ton of those Blaxploitation films. Michael Ironside, we talked about, mentioned. Parker Posey doesn't get a lot of love. She's in a lot of independent films, but I don't know if she would be considered a B movie.
I don't think so. I think because she's terribly well respected as an actress, right?
Is she though?
I think so.
I don't know. Every movie I've seen her in, she plays a flaming bitch in every single movie, and she's not a likable character.
She was in the Josie and the Pussycats, right?
Yeah,
that's the one that comes to mind immediately.
I think of all the improv movies.
She was in Dazed and Confused. She was one of the seniors.
Oh, that's right. She was.
She was.
She was an asshole to the younger girls in that. Yeah.
She was in the third Blade movie.
She was a vampire.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe she shouldn't be associated, but she's like an independent darling.
And then the new Lost in Space.
That's right.
Evil
Yeah.
Doctor.
Yeah.
She was actually really good in that. I thought.
I like that
She's
show.
going for it. Yeah.
She was perfect for that part.
I watched it for some reason.
I got up until like the final season. I think I got 3 episodes in. And I kind of lost interest. But
it kind of fell off. The first season was really good.
Season 2 was decent, and season 3 was.
Well, did it get up to 3 seasons?
I think so. Or maybe it's the season 2 that I'm thinking of. Either way, I got
the last season was kind of convoluted, but
it felt like it was written by 2 different people.
Yeah, maybe so.
Yeah, what's the movie where the Best in Show?
Oh yes,
Where she and her husband
Mighty
don't want to have
Wind and
sex
all
with
that.
the dogs around. You have to have therapy.
Isn't that's created by one of the 3 guys from
Spinal Tap.
Spinal Tap.
Yeah. St. Balls or whatever, the bass player.
Yeah.
Because he's done a lot of those, right?
Oh, yeah.
With that whole ensemble.
I mean,
He's quirky.
He was one of the bad guys in the Princess Bride as well.
Yeah, yes, with the six-fingered man.
Six-fingered man.
Oh, not Humperdinck, but the other guy.
Guest.
Yeah, Christopher Guest. Yes.
Humperdinck does a great job.
He does. He gives it. Yeah. Everybody in that.
Yes.
You know, it's funny.
Does a great job.
They're loving it.
That's one of those movies that Chris has never seen, and every time I make reference to it, he's like, "What is that from?"
Oh, it's a delight.
He goes, "Is that also from Princess Bride?" I'm going, "Actually, yes."
Yeah, no, it's a universal. There's no reason not to like that movie. But it's just got it.
And the book.
Usually I'll say like, "Have fun storming the castle" when they go to do their whatever. They borrow the keys to my car and go do some.
And they have no clue.
Christina knows.
Oh,
He
okay.
giggles whenever I say it, but he's like, Is that another Princess Bride reference?
That's Billy
How old
Crystal
is-
and
how old are
Carol
they?
Kane.
She's our age. She was born in 71, and he's like 2 or 3 years younger than us.
Oh, well,
He's
he
like-
shouldn't.
It's a Universal film. People
He's
should watch it
49.
every
He
whatever.
just turned
Make a
49,
date.
so yeah. I tell him, I say, hey, if you want to watch it, I have it. He's like, yeah, I don't know.
No, geez. Well, I don't. Well, that's fine.
I think Carrie Elwes just turned like 64 or something.
Yeah.
If you want to feel old.
Yeah.
But, yeah, geez.
Pirate Roberts.
Good. Yes.
So good.
The
So
dreaded
good.
Private Robert.
Yeah. So good. I mean, I read that book every few years, too, so.
What's funny is their teenager just turned 17 a couple days ago, like on the 25th, and all of their friends came over for their birthday party, and they're all dressed up as characters from the movie Tangled. Well, one of the boys showed up dressed as like a pirate character, and I was like, "Are you the dreaded Pirate Roberts?" He goes, "No."
Hit with that a couple times.
I guess he heard that a few times that day. And I'm sorry, Bo, but you do look like him. He said, yeah, I know, but that's not who I'm supposed to be.
Oh, man. Poor kid.
Captain Blood.
Hall of Fame B movie directors. I mean, we got to start with Roger Corman,
Yeah.
right? I
The
mean,
American
just
King of
Absolutely.
it, right? Oh,
just
yeah.
crazy.
Oh, yeah.
But-
Romero actually makes an appearance in, I think it's Call of Duty Black Ops and Zombies. There's a map on that game where the zombies that are coming at you are various horror figures. There's Romero, and there's Robert Englund, and one or two other, and I'm drawing a blank because those are the only two I kept seeing over and over again when I was playing. I didn't get very far in that part of the game. But Romero is the first guy you have to kill in the zombies level on that game, and he comes in. He's holding a light fixture, like a movie light fixture. It's like a big stand with a big, huge light bulb on it, and he's walking through, and it's like sparking with, and you have to kill him before he gets to you. So yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, any idea how many films Corman made?
Oh, hundreds.
I mean, a
Oh,
bunch.
I mean,
and produced. I mean, produced and directed. Yeah.
I mean, he probably co-wrote quite a bit too.
Yeah.
American, right? I'm not making that.
Oh, yeah, I think so.
Pretty sure.
Yeah, he just died a couple years ago. I
Yeah,
think, too.
well, real recently, yeah.
Yeah, but all the, I mean, just
nuts. I've been doing a
much.
Roger Corman kind of, I think I've watched 4 or 5 of his movies in the last week and a half.
Oh, man,
So,
good job.
Yeah. There was one, Todd's favorite, John Schneider, Let It Go, but he is in a movie called Cocaine Wars where he plays a DEA agent. Filmed like 85-ish.
Are you
man,
talking
man.
Bo Duke, John Schneider?
Bo Duke, John Schneider.
Pa Kent?
But it's just all this cheesy 80s, fighting. It was a Miami Vice ripoff, basically, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But Galaxy of Terror, I think I talked about that with Aaron Moran, Joni from Joni Cunningham.
Happy Days?
Robert Englund's in it, a bunch of stuff. So just a bunch of his movies just to kind of get a...
But still, even just to hire those people, that's he was established at that.
Oh,
point.
yeah.
Late
Because he
70s,
started
early
way
80s,
back
something?
in the 50s,
Oh, yeah,
right?
no way.
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot
Yeah,
of monster
Romero-
movies.
I think that
yeah.
Romero's first zombie film came out in, I think, mid to late 60s, though, right?
60-something, 68, 69,
Yeah.
maybe. Yeah, I didn't have Romero, but I guess he should be on the Hall of Fame
Absolutely, yeah.
directors list,
I mean,
right?
he started the whole zombie genre,
Yeah,
for sure.
He didn't really work on any like massive production films that I know of.
David, they're all.
I think
they're quality films.
I think
Yeah.
Romero was like at the very least an executive producer on the remakes of his movies.
The Dawn of the
No, I don't
Deads and
know.
stuff like
The
that.
The ones that came out in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Like, I think Eli Roth, I think, did a remake of one of his, and he was an executive. He was either executive producer or he was like a consultant or something.
Would we consider some of the Eli Roth stuff as B movies?
I think that's the modern version.
The Tourista or whatever
Yeah, just the because they're just
I mean,
violence porn or whatever, right?
it's more murder. It's more murder porn than I think than B film.
It's that exploitation.
Yeah,
A little bit, yeah.
Straight to video, or do those end up in theaters?
Oh, I think they end up in
Do they?
theaters,
Okay.
Hostel
All right,
and stuff
all right,
like that.
all
I think they
right.
were
I mean,
in theaters for at least a while.
Yeah. I'm thinking of Shudder or something, one or the other.
He did do the theatrical release of Fantasy Island, which I never saw because I Fantasy Island in itself is not like a true horror series. It was more of like a
Lesson learned. Kind
lesson
of thing.
learned. You know, you fucked around and you found out, but nobody got seriously hurt.
Right.
Yeah, Fantasy Island would be great, man.
Yeah, nobody ever
especially
died
back
in
the
that, right?
70s would be like me and Charo. That's how that would end up, people. Oh my God.
Fantasy Island.
Oh, and if you guys haven't seen and I talked about this before on the podcast, the series revival of Fantasy Island, which was really good, and it got canceled last year. It started at the beginning of the pandemic. They had season 1, and it took almost 2 years before we got season 2. Season 2 was really good, and then I don't think it got a season 3.
No, okay.
But she was like the niece. The grandniece of Mr. Rourke.
Nice. Fine Corinthian leather.
Oh yeah, Montalban.
Yeah.
I love that guy.
Yeah.
And he had a good career as well. Right?
Yeah. I gotta admit, I haven't seen too many of this, but Ed Wood has got to be on the Hall of Fame.
He's
director of B-movies.
absolutely
Yeah,
on
and
there.
putting it together,
He's right up
director
there with
producer.
Tommy Wiseau as far as his terrible movies, man. I think Tommy should actually redo some Ed Wood movies.
Yeah. But Ed Wood would you could see the strings and you could see the microphones and you know,
Well, in
the depth.
the guy who did the movie about Plan 9.
Isn't that Burton?
Burton, yeah, thank you. I was brain fart today like crazy. But yeah, Tim Burton did a movie about Plan 9, the making of Plan 9 from outer space, which the only reason why I'm even aware of Ed Wood. And that movie was called Ed Wood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Depp played Ed Wood.
Right.
Yeah. That's a good movie.
How about John Waters?
Absolutely, yeah.
Jeez,
Crybaby?
Yeah.
Crybaby.
Oh, great.
I know he did Hairspray.
Hairspray, the original Hairspray.
Yeah. That was a...
Pink Flamingos.
Yeah, there was Hairspray. That was a movie before, and then they did a Broadway production of it, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that came
There's been
later.
a couple
yeah.
of films.
Yeah.
Because he did one, and then the one with Travolta and such. I don't know if Waters was
I think I think he was an executive producer on that. I don't know if he was the director.
And
on
Ricky
that.
Lake.
Ricky Lake,
Yeah.
big John Waters contributor, right?
Yeah.
Because she was in Crybaby as well,
Yeah.
Crybaby
along
was
with
a good one.
Tracy Lords. Wasn't
Oh,
Tracy
yeah.
Lords?
I think that was Tracy Lord's first non-adult.
Adult.
film.
Huh.
I mean, legitimately, I don't know if I've ever seen Tracy Lord's original movies. I'll say I don't want, but she was not 18 yet when she made those. That's why you don't see them.
Yeah, you can't see him.
You can't see them.
Yeah, geez.
I remember hearing about people who've seen them.
Did Waters do Pecker?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a great. I
That
like
was a
that
great movie.
I like
And
that.
then Pecker gets pushed out by the blind photographer. Man, I think about that all the
Isn't
time.
that-
Because he's the hip thing.
Isn't
You know
that
what I
Eddie
mean? And then
Furlong
when-
too?
Eddie Furlong, yeah. Young Eddie Furlong.
Eddie Furlong, yeah. Does a fine job.
Yeah.
Dude, there's
Pecker.
a great episode of the podcast Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum where he talks to Edward Furlong, and it's a great episode. Watch out.
Hello.
Geez, yeah. So John Waters definitely. Sam Raimi. Are we throwing him on
yeah,
there?
yeah.
I mean, yes, he had the later success with Spider-Man and stuff,
Yes.
but
And that
early
wasn't that
career
far
stuff.
down. Right after Army of Darkness, he had arrived.
Yeah.
Right? It's like he hasn't gone.
But all through the 80s and late 70s, he would have been.
Geez, it's only 2 films before it's
Was
just
it?
Evil Dead and then Evil Dead, Dead by Dawn, and then Army of Darkness.
Yeah.
And Army of Darkness was, it's always been his production company. Wingnut is his production
Yeah.
company.
Okay.
But as I understand it, the Evil Dead 2 was essentially the same story.
Oh no, Wingnut is Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
Peter Jackson.
Yeah.
But Evil Dead 2 was essentially the same story as Evil Dead 1, but with a better budget, and it was intentionally funny that time.
Yeah,
Okay.
but I think it balances really well. It showcases his crazy flying through the air kinetics and all that shit. But it's really a well balanced movie.
That's his cinematic move. That's like you know how the zoom in kind of effect that Hitchcock had. Where you move the camera forward and you zoom out, and it does that whole that thing,
that coming at you kind of thing,
coming and going at the same time.
Yeah.
That was Hitchcock's thing. Then everyone knows that it's a Hitchcock move. The camera running through the woods.
That's so good. Oh yeah.
I mean, I've seen it in other movies where it wasn't Raimi. It's like, that guy's definitely a Raimi fan.
And Darkman, he does it.
Oh, dude,
that's right, Darkman. Yeah.
Oh my God, I just found out that.
Is that a B movie? Man.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I would say so.
The ones after it definitely were.
The first Darkman with Liam Neeson.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the guy who played a mentally handicapped guy in.
Are you talking about the bad guy in Darkman?
Yes.
Yeah, oh yeah. I know who you're
I
talking
can't
about.
remember what show he was on. I want to say St. Elsewhere, but it wasn't St. Elsewhere.
It was
I always say everything was in St. Elsewhere.
It was one of those
something like that.
Like a cathedral or like a hospital show. Yeah. And he was kind of slow. Yeah.
Darkman was
1987.
87.
It was.
Maybe,
we were
something
in
like that.
high school when that movie came
Was
out.
it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I just recently found out that
I
they
like
finished
Raimi a
filming on the remake of that Leslie Nielsen Naked Gun with Liam Neeson in the lead role.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because he's talking about retiring from action roles because he's like 75, right?
And there's only so many more times he can say, "I have a set of skills."
Set of skills.
Yeah, that's that.
Yeah, I like that guy a lot.
Oh shit! Would you guys consider David Cronenberg a B movie, or is he just an art, just a niche?
I don't know what he's done. I know the name, but I don't know what he's done.
Oh my God, existential or no
Existence.
Existence? Oh God, no, that's not a B film.
This is weird,
dude. That movie fucked with my brain.
Yeah.
I can't. I've only seen it once, and I tried watching it a second time with somebody else because they hadn't seen it yet. And I was like, I rented it and started it, and I ended up having to leave because that movie fucked with me too hard.
And he kind of coined that biological mechanisms. You know what I mean? Like people with cassettes in them and shit.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Did he get Videodrome too?
Yes, he did.
Yeah,
like
with
1980. Debbie Harry and John Woods.
James Woods.
James Woods. Yeah.
I
he was kind of lost.
When I was explaining that Existence movie to people, because that's Jude Law and I can't remember the woman who's in it, but trying to explain that movie to somebody, it's like if The Matrix was a horror film. And that's kind of what I explained, because The Matrix messed with your brain a little bit too. When I came out, I was kind of like a little paranoid after watching that movie the first time. But Existence was next level. Like it really fucked with you. Because it was like it did that same thing that what was that Inception did, where you kind of inside of itself.
Yeah, which is which. Yeah.
And
how do you know you're dreaming if you're dreaming?
Right. But Existence was really more of a horror film than a sci-fi thriller, because it was really freaky, because people were being killed and then you didn't know if it was real or not, and then they'd wake up and then they're not dead and all this.
And that was Elizabeth Shue, right?
Oh, that was Elizabeth Shue.
Yeah.
It was Jude Law.
God bless Elizabeth Shue.
Right on.
Jude Law and Elizabeth Shue.
Yes, Jude Law, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, now Cronenberg famously has used, and I think Burton's kind of this way too, the same costumer, the same production team. It's like all throughout.
He's got his feel.
He's got his people. Yeah, which I think is really neat.
Yeah. Nice.
I think Cronenberg's Canadian.
Must be. I mean, it's some weird shit.
If it's weird shit, it's definitely Canadian. Yeah,
I'm imagining right now, we should do a radio parody on this. James Wood and Richard Dreyfuss doing cocaine in Cronenberg's bathroom.
And get mad about trans people for no good reason.
Trans people in 1984. Just doing massive amounts of coke and and getting pissed at trans people. I'll work on this. I don't know. Maybe I'll type that. Maybe I'll use what is it? AI, the chat GTP. I'll use that
You
for.
you could just
James Woods.
You could just use Facebook
Right.
AI to do that. I did that. The video I sent you guys in the messenger.
Oh yeah.
I was gonna actually play that tonight
Oh man.
because it's I did a.
That was a Freddy Krueger thing, right?
It was Freddie and Jason kind of a call in, and I got a question for you guys, kind of thing, and yeah.
John Carpenter.
Yeah, I love him.
You'd have to.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
a lot of his stuff.
Just a
B-movie,
mega
right?
talent. Just a mega talent.
The one with Kurt Russell, that could easily be like
The
a
Thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it had.
Yeah.
But he did like vampires, right? With the Baldwin brother.
Yeah, Billy Baldwin. I love that movie. Actually, that's one of my top favorite vampire films of all time because I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's done all sorts of
Gerard Butler. Is that the one that has Gerard Butler as a vampire? I'm thinking of Dracula 2000.
Yeah, Dracula 2000.
Yeah, no,
I can't
I like
remember who the vampire was in that.
He looked just like Gerard Butler though.
I wanted that movie to be a lot better because they had this whole team of vampire hunters, and I was imagining that this was going to be this cool ass like Mission Impossible team that was going to go in, and the team got fucking wiped out in like the first 10 minutes of the movie.
If you think that, I mean, I liked the movie a lot. I really enjoyed it. The sequel to that was. They replaced Woods with John Bon Jovi.
I was going to ask, it was James Woods. John Bon Jovi
Like
is
literally John Bon Jovi?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez, I didn't know he was ever in a movie.
Yeah.
he's like running out with his steak. Ooh,
Yeah.
I'm halfway there. Ooh.
I mean, I can't remember a lot of the movie. I just remember him being the lead character, and I think he's supposed to be the same character that Woods played.
Was that was got to have been just a
Maybe
direct to
that's what's
video?
I think it was
Off on the dark
It
side.
was a direct-to-video release, and the bad guy was a female vampire lady.
Nice.
That's
nice. Boys, studios, I only named 3 here. I meant to look up a bunch more, but Todd mentioned earlier Troma Pictures was a huge one because they would just crank out like Surf Nazis Must Die.
Tromeo and Juliet.
Yeah.
Uh,
They did Class of Nukem High, which was a big one.
Oh, yeah, it's huge.
Toxic Avenger, which we talked about.
Then they did like the Thanksgiving horror film about the Poultrygeist,
Oh, so good.
and it's like
I'm mad that we didn't do that first.
honestly, we should do a radio parody of that
For
because-
Thanksgiving next year.
Absolutely. 'Cause, I mean, I started watching it and I was like, oh god, this is terrible.
Yeah.
And it was like a possessed cooked turkey.
Oh, my God.
Comes to life and starts.
I
mean,
wonder
why
if we
not?
could. Yeah, we could find the script for it and just turn it into a radio play.
Oh, my God.
That would be great. Maybe we'll do that instead of a Merry Christmas, Merry Smurfsmas
Well,
next year. No, next year. Next year. Yeah. Instead of doing a
sequel.
Christmas holiday season, we'll do a Thanksgiving holiday season.
And then,
We should do. I mean, speaking of doing different holiday things, I recently saw an article that the people that give us Spirit Halloween are doing a Spirit Christmas.
Oh yeah, you mentioned this.
Spirit Christmas store in the East Coast someplace, and they're testing it out over there. I was like, okay, if they're going to do that, when are they going to do Spirit St. Patty's Day or Spirit Easter?
I could see Christmas. Obviously, Halloween, people spend tons of money on.
I think it was $12 billion this year just on accoutrements for Halloween.
But then Christmas as well. I mean, people are buying ornaments, they're buying shit that they don't need. But
clearly, but the thing is,
Suppositories.
I don't know about Valentine's and Easter and stuff.
These are all Hallmark holidays. People buy tons of crap for these holidays.
Yeah.
So easily they could turn those holidays into another Spirit Halloween store that opens
Sell
up.
stuff.
That opens up for
Just leave it open then, and just.
In my
season, spirit of the season.
in my
Season of the
post,
spirit.
because I posted it on the Nerds Collide Facebook group, and I said, you know what, they should take this because Spirit Halloween is owned by Spencer's Gifts.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, so Spencer's Gifts should stop being a spot in the mall and just take over like the old Toys R Us or
Sears or whatever.
Whatever it is, and just have it year round. And then on the off months that they don't have a holiday, just have it be a normal, Spencer's.
Yeah, I don't know. Whatever sells, right? Yeah. Make the economy. You're going the wrong way. It's a one-way, dude. Go back, back that shit up.
None shall pass.
Back it up.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a one-way street going this way.
3rd Avenue only goes.
Don't take a right turn.
Head east, young man.
Goes east, yeah.
Boys, Roger Corman had several movie production companies throughout his career. He had New World Pictures, he had Millennium Pictures, which became New Horizons, and then I think finally he had like American International Pictures or something like that.
Okay.
But I mean, just all of his bonkers, all of his fake remake movies, all of his rip-off movies, all that stuff. But I mean, he got decent production value on a budget, right?
Yeah,
Did either of you see his version of the Fantastic Four?
No. Was he the one that did the one that never was seen?
Did it get
released?
I remember it being released. I remember seeing it on the shelf at Blockbuster in Issaquah. And I remember renting it. And I remember thinking, this is god-awful.
Yeah, I mean,
how in the world did he get the rights to that?
I don't know. That's an odd mix.
Because I think it was Fox that had it, and he did it for Fox, and he made that to keep it in-house.
Because he wanted to keep the rights.
Yeah.
So he had to.
They quickly made a Fantastic Four movie, and the special effects wasn't terrible. But the dialogue was just fucking horrible.
Just awful.
The kid from The Boy That Could Fly and Almost Human, I think his name was Jay something. Either way, he was Johnny Storm, the Human Torch. And then the other people I didn't recognize any of the actors from.
How did the Thing look?
It looked like the one from that had Jessica Alba. It was very simple.
Oh, the guy from The Shield,
Michael Chiklis.
Michael Chiklis. Yeah.
It looked like that, except for it was if it had been made, and I think it might have actually been made by the Chiodo brothers, the guys who did Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Oh yeah,
nice.
Yeah. Speaking of cool B films,
yeah, that's on my list as well.
Right on, that's a good movie.
Yeah, they should just take the Michelin Man suit and make some in.
I mean, it was like it's like
he's just sweating fucking bullets in that.
Yeah,
it looked as though they took the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man and just burnt the shit out of him and
put the little indentation, when you get the marshmallow a little too hot and it crackles.
It's so good though.
It is.
I haven't had a marshmallow in 30 plus years.
Man.
If I remember right, they're delicious.
Probably once a summer we break out the little deck patio
s'mores kit.
Well, and then we got one of those solo stoves or whatever it is, the wood burning thing, and just we roast it. We got a little small one.
I think the last time I had a legit s'mores, was before I moved back to King County. I was over in Kitsap when I had it.
Yeah,
but
well, maybe we need to have an
Our Town podcast for our 100th party.
Oh,
dude,
we need to figure out I could bring in a little propane torch or something.
Plus all the Boeing Strikers get to have burn barrels, dude. We should just pretend we're Boeing Strikers. It's the cosplay.
Right there on the corner.
Charles, I bet you. I would imagine they have them on Amazon. Just do a search for a s'mores kit or whatever. I'm sure there's a thing that
just get one of those crack pipe creme brulee torches, right?
I mean, all you really need is a Coleman grill.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. We got to talk to Jeff. We also have to see if we can do wine or beer or something.
You can get
I can do sodas.
Let's get some ciders, man.
Yeah, banquet permit. It means you can give it away. You can't.
No, I wasn't. We weren't going to sell it. So we need a little extra dough.
Yeah. Just get people drunk and then
we got to invite people. So we got to come up with a little guest list.
What we do is we get them a little drunk and they say, "Let me see your phone for a second," and then just subscribe them to our podcast.
Yeah.
For the year.
$1 million a month.
Dude, so it's been like 4 years, I think, 4 or 5 years since I started listening to his podcast. But Michael Rosenbaum's podcast, in the early days of his podcast, he's like, grab your mom's phone and subscribe her to my podcast. Grab your boyfriend's phone, subscribe him to my podcast.
Nice.
Just like grab their phone and subscribe them.
Subscribing everybody to it.
They don't have to listen. They just have to have it automatically download to their phone every week.
Yeah. Finally, on B movies, a big Seattle one that I watched within the last year.
Really?
It's a movie called Class of 1999.
I don't know if I've ever heard that one.
I think my sister's boyfriend at the time when this thing was filmed was asked to be in the movie. Because they saw him hanging out on the Ave.
Yeah, exactly. You looked.
Oh, wait.
You looked the part.
Yeah.
Was he an Av rat?
He was an Av rat, kind of an Av rat. But it was Class of 1999. It's got Stacy Keach plays an albino who has created these mechanized teachers, and Malcolm McDowell and Pam Grier are a couple of the teachers, and they're robots basically.
Like Stepford Wife type thing.
But parts of Seattle are like free fire zones, so the police don't even go in there. So they're overrun by gangs, and I don't know if they use Kennedy High School, but they call it Kennedy High School. Because I think Kennedy's up in West Seattle.
Lancers.
Yes.
I thought Kennedy was like right down at the intersection of like I-90 and.
There's the Catholic Kennedy School.
That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, that's in West Seattle or Burien. Right? I don't know.
Like,
anyway, but
South Seattle, I thought, but yeah.
So there's all these gangs, and they're always fighting each other, and there's security at the school, but once they leave the school, there's no security, and there's stupid car chases, and there's all kinds of stuff, gang fights. But these three teachers, mechanical teachers, are there to keep order, and they end up killing the kids and doing different stuff. And Stacy Keach is totally this albino with a ponytail.
Oh my God.
It's just friggin' absolutely ridiculous, but it's Seattle, right?
Yeah.
And I don't remember what year that came out.
And he's another actor, a B movie. I mean, a lot.
Stacy Keach,
Yeah.
He was in all of the Cheech and Chong movies, wasn't he?
He played Sergeant Stadenko.
Oh, it was 1990 that came out.
All right.
Yeah, Class of 1999.
You know
Filmed
who it
in
is?
Seattle then?
It was filmed in Seattle.
Bye, Lord ass.
Oh, man.
Production.
And Stacy Keach's dad was also an actor.
Yeah.
He's a pedigree.
Wasn't Stacy Keach Hammer?
Yeah, he was
Mike Hammer.
For a long time.
Filmed in '88 at Lincoln High School in Seattle's Wallingford neighborhood.
Yeah.
Wallingford, that's right.
Yeah.
I was thinking it was South Seattle. But my mom went to that school.
I just remember Jimmy.
I think
Kathy, if you're watching this, we're talking about Jimmy, because they lived down by the Ave, and he was approached by some casting director. Said, "Hey, you'd be great for this movie. We want to. Here's some like mock-ups of the costumes and stuff." And it was like bad red leather and pink mohawks.
This is
and
what all the kids are going to look like 1999.
it sounds like Nukem High all over again.
Kind of. I mean, it was probably kind of a rip-off of that. But and what was there was a B movie with Michael J. Fox, which was a high school movie, and it had Perry.
Refrigerator Perry?
No, the guy that was in Riptide, the TV show Riptide. Perry.
I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. Can't remember. That was a high school movie too, but where the gangs were taking over the school and he was fighting back and all kinds. But it was an early Michael J. Fox movie.
Jeez, I don't know.
There's a whole series of movies like that. It's called The Substitute. That's not the same.
Oh, that was Tom Berenger.
Yeah. Oscar Award nominee.
Was he?
Tom Berenger was in the first two, but then it was went over to the guy from Lawnmower Man, I think.
Because he was also the sniper.
Oh
yeah.
For a couple of movies, and then he got his finger cut off. But he was in a few of those with bald now.
That narrows it down.
Bad guy on Titanic.
Billy Zane.
Billy Zane.
yeah.
I met him at
The cover boy. Oh yeah.
at the horror convention I went to this last year.
Yeah.
It's a fucking
Nice
supermodel,
dude.
Billy Zane.
Yes, I mean, he's impossibly handsome.
Yeah, no.
I love.
And also,
the Phantom was great.
yeah, he does a great job in Phantom, and he does a decent job in Twin Peaks.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right. I got to watch Twin.
Yeah,
Speaking of like
he is. He's the heel in. Yeah. He's just trying to protect Rose's virginity.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like.
speaking of like zombies in like Seattle, there was a TV show that it lasted I think 3 or 4 seasons, and it was supposed to be in Seattle, but I think they filmed up in Vancouver, BC. But it was called iZombie, and it was really corny. But it was fun to watch. It was about this zombie outbreak that happens in Seattle, and
Of course.
the main character is a doctor, and she gets scratched by a zombie. She turns into a zombie and has to give up her practice because
Nobody wants to go to a zombie doctor.
I mean, nobody knew she was a zombie, but she was afraid that if the only way to keep herself from turning into a Romero zombie, as they refer to it in the show, is eating brains. So she becomes one of the assistants to the morgue.
Oh, so she can get access to brains.
Yeah.
Is that kind of similar to Santa Clarita Diet with friend of the show, Drew Barrymore?
I think that's more horror themed than this show. This show was more of a comedy.
Okay.
Kind of almost a
Guess
drama.
the wife watched that, Drew Barrymore. I didn't
I
see it.
love Drew Barrymore, but I watched about an episode and a half of it, and I'm like, no, I like her a lot, but not enough to want to see this.
Okay. Yeah.
But no, iZombie is great. I enjoyed it. I was bummed that it got canceled. So.
All right, guys, we kind of went down the gambit of BMovies.
Yeah.
We talked about directors, actors, movies, what they mean, what they were for, all that good
think-
stuff.
It's just fun.
It's
Film
fun.
can be fun.
It can be.
I think
Not taking itself too seriously.
right. The of the more current B films, the ones that I would actually recommend you guys watching because it's great, but it's also terrible at the same time. Lavalantula. Lavalantula
Sounds great.
It is
What is that on?
it's probably on Tubi.
Tubi, okay.
Yeah. But it's actors from the Police Academy movies, Steve Guttenberg and Michael Winslow.
Gutenberg's working again?
Oh, good.
And this is like right before he started. He had a regular character on the Goldbergs, but it came out. I think the first one came out in 2019, so like right before the pandemic. And the sequel I think came out shortly thereafter because it was terrible, but it was really great. So about this Southern California, LA area, and like this earthquake happens, and all of a sudden these giant fucking lava spewing spiders come out of the ground, and he's like this has-been actor who's trying to revive his career by making these revival movies of his movies he made back in the 80s, and he's like this over the top, like I'm a tough guy. He doesn't look like a tough guy. So that's
He's 3 men and a little lady, or 3 men and a baby.
Yeah.
But there was two. The second one was called Two Lava, Two Lantula.
So good.
It was so bad. It was
See,
awesome.
that's fun.
That's fun. I'll have to check those
And
out.
that's the CG years, right?
Yeah. No, this is the same.
How long ago?
The last one I think was like 3 or 4 years ago.
Oh.
Okay, so within the last 10 years.
Yeah,
Which, I
and
mean, if you're a small house or whatever, and that's how you kind of build into a bigger house.
It was done by the same production that did the Sharknado movie.
Okay, gotcha.
Who must be doing okay.
Yeah.
Because I remember when Toyota first got here and they were cheap.
Yeah.
Right? And then all of a sudden they kind of reinvested in their
Lexus,
shit.
yeah.
Turned out fine.
Jeez.
So,
It's a nice Toyota you got there. It's a Lexus. Let's look at the engine.
Boys, sharing is caring. What you got for this week? What have you been up to?
I've been playing a lot on Horizon Worlds on VR, and there is another world that I've been playing on. It's called Friday Laughs, and it's a smaller world than the other one, but it's a lot of the same people. So it's like going to like a smaller club versus like a big theater to see like improv comedy. And recently I've been given some admin access to the world, so I can bring in my my camera bot, and we can do live streams and we can record stuff, and they have lots of props, and they've added new things for the stage, so we can have there's a checkout counter for the grocery store, so we can do improv if you're like a Karen or some shit, But it's been a lot of fun. It's called Friday Laughs, and the Horizon Worlds app on the Oculus. You could you should be able to access it through the Oculus app on your phone or tablet, if you don't have a Oculus device. So yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Nice. Mike, what about you? What you been up to, dude?
Well, work. At work, I've been listening to the kind of sister program to Tennis, Rabbits. So I just started in on that, and that's good audio. And I could listen to it while I work, and that's fine. And then I dropped off my ballot, and it was, it was an odd time. It wasn't terribly busy, but I hope it hasn't been that busy. I hope people are just waiting for the last minute or something.
Did you go down to the King County office?
Yeah, right off of Grady.
I'm Grady. Yeah, I did too. I took mine, Chris and Christina's down there.
Don't say that.
Yeah.
But
I don't think you're supposed to take them.
Wait, what?
Andy coerced him.
I don't think you're supposed to transport somebody else's
I just
ballots.
put it,
I don't know.
I put it in the Dropbox. Is all I did.
Yeah.
But I didn't fill it out for them.
No.
Did you guys hear about the down in Vancouver, Washington?
In Portland, yeah.
They've got a person of interest they're looking at, and the FBI's involved. It's please don't do that. Please don't do that. It's
you're not just destroying Democratic votes, you're destroying other ones too.
Well, and it's not your fucking business to do so.
No.
Exactly,
right?
yeah.
It's that's other people's expressions of their citizenry. Fuck off with that.
And you can also do a search online to see if your vote has been counted.
Yep.
So verify that shit.
Yeah, go online and make sure.
Verify often.
Verify
often, because weird shit can happen. And please just stay involved.
Yeah.
Right? It's democracy is a slippery.
Not voting is not really an option.
Thing.
So
yeah.
I mean, I hear people say, well, this state always votes blue, so I don't need to vote. It's yeah, the fuck you do.
Yeah, there's a lot of down ballot stuff too. So.
Most of which get decided by maybe a few dozen votes.
And a lot of initiatives out there on the ballot this year.
So there's please, for God's sake, please, please.
If nothing else, you have nothing to complain about if you don't vote.
Yeah. Well, and it's just the very least you can do. Participate in your democracy, people, please, and your society at large.
Yeah,
pretty please,
for sure. Yeah. Ending on something positive, boys and folks. If you're not a member, you should be a member. Tonight we're doing our top 5 favorite B movies of all time. Each of us will go down a list of 5 and talk about our favorites and see if they match up with yours. So if you're not a member, go be a member. Go to the website, sign up in the members only section, or go to Patreon.
Yes.
Which I think is French for please give us a little money.
Give me some money.
And sign up, man. It's only $3 a month or $20 a year. Is that what it is? Is that what it works out? Yeah, $20 a year, $3 a month. I mean, it's cheap.
Come on.
A cup of coffee's more expensive, so go do that.
We will pumpkin spice scent all over whatever stuff you buy from us.
We can. On request.
Pumpkin spice spritzer.
Because some of you won't like it. I've got a pumpkin spice candle at home. I'll just put it in the closet for
waxy buildup.
Ending on something positive, boys. I thought it'd be funny because I looked up that Roger Ebert quote, and there was a couple more on some bad movies. Todd, you'll like this. He called Battlefield Earth. He said, Battlefield Earth is like taking a bus trip with someone who has needed a bath for a long time. It's not merely bad, it's unpleasant in a hostile way.
That is the most accurate description of that movie I've ever heard. That movie is actually considered the worst movie ever made
of all time.
Time.
Oh, John.
I legit tried to watch it. I rented it, and I was like, oh god, this is terrible.
Nutsy stupid.
It's It's an L. Ron Hubbard story too.
Yeah. And on the classic Bruce Willis, Ben Affleck Armageddon movie, he said, no matter what they're charging to get in, it's worth more to get out. Oh, Roger Ebert, we miss you, man. Rest in peace, sir.
Has he died?
Yeah, he died a bit ago, I think.
Yes.
He had a terrible throat cancer or something. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Some crazy
And
thing.
Corman Baldy, yeah.
I thought he was still. I thought he was still alive. It's the other one that died a long time ago.
Oh, Siskel?
Yeah, the tall one, right?
Yeah.
Siskel's the tall one.
Yeah.
Ebert's the
The short, fat one.
Squatty body.
glasses. Yeah.
He's the one that looks like the guy from Up.
We can't leave you guys on that. So
Yeah.
Roger Ebert.
Ebert.
Oops, not Robert
That's when you
Every.
get a digital Ernie and Ebert.
Roger Ebert.
Yeah.
Ebert
I heard it.
died in 2013.
Oh, man.
Oh shit!
So it's been a while, yeah. Film historian, age 70. He had, I think,
man.
he had a throat cancer or something.
Yeah.
It was the jab.
It was the diagnosed with cancer of the thyroid and salivary glands.
Bomber.
Yeah, geez. Had to have a section of his lower jaw removed. That's what I
think
remember.
I do remember that, yeah.
I didn't think it was 2013. I didn't think it was over 10 years ago, though. Jeez.
Is he chewing tobacco or something?
Rest in peace. I don't know, man.
He
We'll
was
see you.
probably
Yeah.
he was probably a smoker.
Yeah, geez. We'll see you guys next
Okay.
week. Thank you for being here. Bye.
Bye. Yay.
Please like, subscribe, comment, and share. And if you think this episode is worth $1 or $5, the boys would love to have it. Please go to ourtownpod.store for merch or to donate now. For less than a cup of coffee, you can also join the website in the member-only area for exclusive bonus content, blogs, and more. It's just $3 a month or $30 a year. Thank you for listening to this production of Our Town Podcast Extraordinaire.